There's a nip in the air. The playoffs are in sight. It's time to start talking turkey in the CFL. These Pilgrims haven't made much progress this season, but the Rough Riders are still hungry, and David Archer's got the boarding house reach. On defense, Lamar McGrady can knock the stuffing out of opponents. But the Alouettes are no sitting duck, and Tracy Ham's no turkey either, shaken and baking all season long. And Jock Climby's been known to take a heaping helping of the end zone too. Then for dessert, Doug Flutie's back in Cowtown and looking for something on the hoof. Last week, Robert Drummond dined and dashed on the Winnipeg D, and now he's back for second. But Jeff Garcia has a bone to pick with the Argos, revenge for a one-point loss, and Alan Pitts has been his bread and butter. Are you ready for TV dinner? The fall foliage in full bloom in the nation's capital on a classic fall afternoon for football to kick off our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader. It's the Rough Riders versus the Alouettes. This is the first game of a home-and-home series, crucial to Montreal's hopes of clinching second place in the Eastern Division. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and welcome to our coverage of the CFL on CBC. The Ottawa Rough Riders are out of playoff contention. That's no secret, but it's also not a cliche to say that they're playing for next year. Their season ticket campaign is underway. They need to sell fans on football in this city. Montreal couldn't score a touchdown the last time they were here in a 17-6 loss to Ottawa, but slowly and surely they've become one of the strongest teams in the CFL. And for evidence of that, you need look no further than their massive offensive line. A line that hardly gets any recognition and credit, 300 pounds average across the board. Tracy Ham, no doubt giving thanks to them. He's the #2 passer in the CFL and on the verge of becoming the all-time leading rushing quarterback in the CFL. Calling the game today, Don Whitman and Danny Kepley. And you know, one thing about working Thanksgiving, we won't be letting our belt out a notch today. Don,
we can do that.
Yeah. Don, tell me a bit about Montreal, though the coaches around the league are talking highly about them.
Well, the Montreal Alouettes got off to a horrendous start. They lost their first 3 games. They won 8 of their last 11. Jock Climby has been a major contributor. The ex-Ottawa Rough Rider leads the team in pass receiving, and he is just 22 yards shy of becoming a 1,000-yard receiver for only the second time in his career.
And with his counterparts on the other side, Joseph Rogers and Bobby Gordon are responsible for 11 touchdowns. That's over half of David Archer's offensive putout in the '96 season.
You know, guys, I remember when Johnny Rogers used to pack this joint in Ottawa-Montreal rivalries in October, and they're hoping that that is the beginning of something new here today. Coming up right after this game, part 2 of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader. It's a battle of superpowers out west as the Argos visit the Calgary Stampeders at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. This will be Doug Flutie's homecoming, the former Stampeder causing all kinds of excitement. And for a preview of that Thanksgiving Day battle, let's go to Scott Oak at McMahon Stadium.
Mark, thank you. The Argos and the Stamps in Calgary on a beautiful fall day is an easy sell, and the most attractive part of the game is Doug Flutie's return to the stadium where he worked magic for 4 years, but he's coming back as a member of the Argonauts. He may have required directions to the visitors' locker room here at McMahon Stadium. The city is buzzing over Flutie's return. Some may boo him today, but they can't deny his brilliance. He's got the inside track on a 5th Outstanding Player Award. The Stamps are hoping he's less than outstanding today because they still have business to take care of, and that's clinching first place in the CFL's West Division. The Argos at 12-2, meantime, are home and cooled for first in the East. They have a chance to become the winningest Argo team in CFL history. So the Argos and the Stamps form the second half of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader. Back to you, Mark.
All right, Scott, we look forward to your coverage at 7 Eastern. Coming up on the BF Goodrich TA halftime report, we'll hear from Jimmy the Jet Cunningham. He single-handedly strafed the Stamps the last time they met. And from Jeff Garcia, he's back on target after a mid-season slump. Here in Ottawa, gorgeous day for football, 9 degrees, but a strong wind from the northwest. That could be a factor. We're just about set for the opening kickoff, so let's turn the proceedings over to Don Whitman and Danny Kepley.
Thanks, Mark. The Montreal Alouettes preparing to kick off to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Bob Price has designs on a second-place finish in the East for John Payne. This is a game more for pride and next year than anything else. His team has played pretty well, actually, over the last half dozen games. They've lost a couple of tough ones, and that has eliminated them from playoff contention. Back-to-back losses to the Calgary Stampeders, Danny, by a converted touchdown. Games that they were in, games that some people think they might have been able to win.
David Archer thought that they should have won those games. 3 or 4 plays during the course that could have made a difference in the outcome.
Kenny Wilhite will take the kickoff from Terry Baker at the 20-yard line. Wilhite runs out of room as he gets up to the 30, and that's where Ottawa will scrimmage, 1st and 10. That was a 13-yard run back by Wilhite. David Archer, the quarterback of the Ottawa Rough Riders, has some plans on how he will attack this very tough Montreal Alouette defense.
Well, I think taking care of the football is number one. You got to make sure you don't turn the football over, because I think their defense feeds on those kind of things, and Tracy turns turnovers into points.
And eliminating turnovers will be a key for the Ottawa Rough Riders this afternoon. Down the sidelines, deep, and this one could go all the way with Rogers. No, he runs out of bounds at the 32. Excellent fake inside that froze the defense momentarily, and then it was Archer to Rogers for 48 yards.
Terrific call, because what David Archer wanted to do was set up the quick pitch screen outside to Wayne Walker. The inside receivers, and Rogers comes out, fakes the block, then gets downfield. Good opening start, because this is the kind of offensive team right now that Montreal will have a tough time playing against, because they do not have any tendencies. David Archer can let it all hang out today.
Well, Rogers has an opportunity to become a 1,000-yard receiver. If he continues to catch throws such as that, he could do it in this game. Dave Denal, the ball carrier, and he is stopped right at the 30-yard line by Peterson. And this is the way the Rough Riders line up. Chuck Este has played a solid game at that right guard position all season. Dave Denal had a strong game against the Calgary Stampeders last week. He ran for 123 yards, and as a result has earned another starting assignment this afternoon against Montreal.
Crucial element in David Archer's offense today, using Denal, using the rushing game to set up that play-action pass that he likes to throw.
Over the middle to Wayne Walker, and Walker splits the seam down inside the 10-yard line. Well, the fans at Frank Clair Stadium are enjoying what they're witnessing from the Rough Riders in the opening sequence of plays. Doug Peterson has had a really strong season at the defensive tackle position for Montreal. Tracy Gravely is number 2 in the league in tackles behind Willie Pless of Edmonton, and Urban Smith is one of the strongest cornerbacks in the league. But right now, the Alouette defensive unit is having all sorts of difficulties trying to control David Archer as he scrimmages 1st and 10, first and goal from the 9-yard line. Archer is going to be dropped for a loss, and the man who gets to him is Mr. Carter.
Grant Carter has been just a solid defensive element for the Montreal Alouettes this year. That's his 11th sack. Strong fella, gets involved in the pass rush, good on the rush, good on the run itself, and he's a guy that can get from A to B all the way across this field at any point in time.
10 quarterback sacks coming into the game. Grant Carter now has 11. He leads the team in that department. 2nd and goal, Ottawa. This is where Ottawa's had problems all year, inside the red zone. Now Archer rolls out. Archer is going to try and run away from Gravely. He can't do it. And Gravely brings him down at the 12-yard line. So that's a 3rd and goal situation for Ottawa. And the Rough Riders, after moving the ball so well earlier, will be forced to attempt a field goal.
Don, as you said, getting into the red zone and getting the ball into the end zone from that point has been a tough situation for David Archer. Good, solid play in the secondary of the Alouettes. They stayed back, manned up on their guys, forced David Archer to have to break the line of scrimmage, and then the good speed of Gravely was able to get over there and stop David Archer, who obviously is not known for his great speed in this league.
Lamley, 15 of 24 in the field goal department this year, will attempt a 19-yarder. The kick is up. It is good, and the Ottawa Rough Riders are first on the board on this Thanksgiving Day CFL battle at Frank Clair Stadium in the nation's capital. 11:51 remaining in the opening quarter. You know, when the Ottawa Rough Riders reflect back at some of the games they played this year, the contest against the Hamilton Ticats, I guess, stands out, where Paul Osbaldiston kicked 8 field goals, and a number of times the Rough Riders were in the red zone. And on a gamble from the 1-yard line, David Archer threw a key interception.
Well, it did, and you have to think at some point in time, you get the ball first and goal on the 1-yard line. Any offensive system should be able to get that in. You've got 3 tries, force that ball in with the defense standing on the line off the line of scrimmage. If that offensive line can't get off, and with the guys that he had in the backfield at that time, get the ball, Troy Mills was one of them, get the ball in the end zone, something is terribly wrong. But they did not do it against Hamilton.
Running the football has been a problem this year for the Ottawa Rough Riders. They've only scored 4 touchdowns rushing.
Well, they're the lowest in the league. They've only scored 25 touchdowns in total. Like I say, 21 by the air. The 2 guys I mentioned in the opening have been responsible for 11 of those touchdowns.
The Montreal Alouettes will get their hands on the football for the first time, and this is Mike Pringle on the kickoff return, and Pringle spins his way, loses the football as he gets up to the 38, but they're going to whistle it dead. They rule that he was down at that point. That was a 31-yard run back. Tracy Ham leads the Montreal offense. The last time they played here on August 30th, they didn't score a touchdown. How do they correct it, Tracy?
We're playing back-to-back, so it's going to be hard to look past them. So I think the key for us is they beat us here. They beat us pretty good last time we played them. Our defense played well, our offense didn't. So we need to come out and play well offensively.
Well, they can't afford to look past this game. Many thought that they would probably be looking towards the October 25th date against the Hamilton Ticats, which could ultimately decide second place in the Eastern Conference. But first of all, they must deal with Ottawa. Pringle, the ball carrier, and he is brought down by McGriggs after a pickup of almost 9.
Tracy Ham with some great numbers this year. Mike Pringle, the first meeting that they had here when Ottawa beat them 17-6, had 10 carries for 46 yards. That was his first game back. He did not have his feet underneath him. He wasn't comfortable with the offense. He was new. He has gotten comfortable. Look for him to rush the ball a lot today.
Well, Tracy Ham is the number 2 all-time leading rusher among quarterbacks in the CFL. He gives the ball to Michael Soles, who was going after a first down, and Soles is going to be close. Jermaine Younger came up to make the tackle with help from McGriggs.
Jermaine Younger, nicknamed the Tank, and it's the 5'11", about 250, can cover from tackle to tackle as well as anybody. He covers a big hole. He's a very excitable kind of guy, plays with a lot of emotion out there. Came up, made the stick on Michael Soles.
Younger made his debut in an Ottawa uniform against Montreal on August the 30th, had an outstanding game that night as he made 6 tackles.
Take a look right in the middle of your screen. Gets right by the center. Mike Whitcomb gets into the backfield and disrupts that handoff, stops him short. It's 3rd and inches.
Reminds me of a guy who used to wear 42 for Edmonton who made those key plays. 3rd and inches for Montreal. Tracy Ham will keep, and why not, behind that huge offensive line. When you take a look across the front of Montreal, there is a lot of height and a lot of weight. They average 300 pounds up front, and Mark Dixon is probably the best offensive lineman on the team. That's in the opinion of the coaching staff. Michael Soles has really played well at the fullback position, both as a receiver and as a fullback. They say he might be the best blocking back in the league.
Well, Tracy Ham paid him the ultimate compliment. He said this guy is the best all-around athlete that he has seen and the most consistent player that the Alouettes have had on the team this year.
So with Ham gambling on 3rd down, the Alouettes retain possession. 9:58 remaining in the opening quarter. They trail by a score of 3-0. It's 1st and 10. The ball is at the 49 of Montreal. Ham is under some pressure. He dumps it off to Pringle. Pringle trying to get away from McGriggs, and McGriggs hangs on to the sweater and with some help is able to pull him down very close to a 1st down Montreal.
Now this McGriggs guy is somebody that you like to have on your defensive team. Covers it all over the field. Coach John Payne said he is now starting to play back to about 100%. He had some nagging injuries over the past couple of weeks. Making an open field tackle on Mike Pringle like that. Good play by the linebacker.
2nd and inches for Montreal. Mike Pringle established the CFL record for rushing in a season, 1,972 yards 2 seasons back with Baltimore. Tracy Ham keeps. Ham coming into this game only needed 20 yards, Dan, to move past Damon Allen is the all-time leading rusher among quarterbacks. He's up against a tough front four. Stacey Evans is back in the lineup after missing last week's game. They really like him. Jermaine Younger in the middle between McGriggs and Knight gives this team solid linebacking. And Frank West moves into a corner linebacking position. His first game in that spot, replacing Gillick, who was injured last week against Calgary.
Too much time out there. Tracy and Michael Souls, and Mike Pringle in the backfield, trying to get the audible set.
And after the whistle went, Tracy
Timeout violation. Montreal number 8, still first down.
Tracy Ham went over to talk to Mike Pringle because there was some miscommunication. Earlier on another play, I noticed that Ham went over and talked to Michael Souls, so something is obviously causing the Alouettes problems in their offensive set. First and 15, Ham with time. Ham fakes. Now he's going to be flushed out. Being pursued by Birch, throws on the dead run, and it's off the fingertips of Pringle. That's tough when you're running to your left to throw back to the right.
Well, the kind of athlete that Tracy Ham is, he can do that kind of stuff. Was able to have in the full sprint with Birch pursuing down the line of scrimmage, get his shoulders turned and throw the ball with some zip out to Mike Pringle. And that's been the knock a little bit against Mike Pringle. He says, you know, he hasn't been that good of a pass receiver. Coach Bob Price said, well, he's not that good of a pass receiver, but he makes ugly catches sometimes, and that's all you need to do. Make the ugly catch, keep the drive alive.
Second and 15. The ball is at the midfield stripe. 8:12 remaining in this opening quarter. 3-0. Ottawa leads on a 19-yard field goal by Wayne Lamlin. Draw play with Pringle, and Pringle is a big hole. And Pringle will get the first down. Gets inside the 40-yard line. Brought down by Sam Brennan.
Terrific call. Spread the defense all out across the line. Full block in the middle. Up comes number 60, Mike Sutherland, the guard. Folds around, picks up the linebacker Younger. Pringle comes right off of that. Now here's the fold that I'm going to show you. Good block. Occupies the linebacker. Does not let him get his hands on Pringle. And Mike Pringle, with that great explosion that he has, able to get around him and pick up the first down.
First and 10. Ham is going deep. Looking for Harrell down the sidelines. He was being covered stride for stride by Frank West. It will be second and 10 from the 39. They like Harrell in Montreal. They feel that the addition of Harrell to that wide receiver position gives them experience out there and also good speed.
Well, he really likes that because this is the guy, as you said, he's got the speed to take it deep. He can run right by you if you give him an opportunity. He's only caught 4 passes through the course of the few games that he has played, but he is a threat. You have to put a guy out there, and you have to really respect what he can do.
He was cut by the New York Giants, signed as a free agent by Montreal on September the 4th. Tracy Ham out of the pocket, and this is a low throw. He was looking for Jock Climby.
Tracy Ham just took a big shot after this play, after he let it go. Jock Climby's going to work. Little cross route, goes to the corner. Tracy takes the hit. That's why that pass was underthrown. Here it is. You can see Spanik come in right at the last minute. Forces Tracy. He is not able to stand in that pocket. Turns that right shoulder a little bit. Throws it down to the ground.
Terry Baker punting better this year in the opinion of the Montreal coaching staff than he has in previous seasons, mainly because he's become more of a directional kicker, but this one he is going to drive through the end zone for a single point. And with 6:42 remaining in the opening quarter, after the 59-yard kick, it's 3-1 Ottawa.
Cal Murphy tries to intervene as Shannon Baker punches Reggie Slack following an argument over a botched TD pass. In the second half, Slack restores composure and scrambles deep into Saskatchewan territory. This play setting up a 1-yard touchdown plunge for the winning touchdown, 20-14. With the win, Winnipeg will clinch at least third place and a playoff spot in the West. Saskatchewan is eliminated. And in the East, of course, a big matchup. The Argos, 12-2, going against Calgary later today. The big battle, though, for second and third between Montreal and Hamilton, and this game will figure in that, Don.
Yes, and Ottawa at the moment leads by a score of 3-1. Montreal, the last time in here on August the 30th, did not score a touchdown in dropping a 17-6 decision. Ottawa's running game still having some difficulties, although, as I mentioned, Dave Denal ran really well last week against Calgary.
12 carries, 123 yards, 1 touchdown. He was an integral part of the whole offense. That opened up David Archer's play. As I said, he likes to use the play action. If that defense has to respect the rush a little bit, they're there. If they don't, they just pin their ears back, and Archer will get sacked a lot.
Archer operating out of the shotgun. Now he's being chased by Hammonds. Archer fakes. Archer running to the sidelines. He's got a first down. Archer not noted for being particularly fleet of foot.
He was speedy going around that corner. David, I take it back. If you can break out of that containment, you get out there a bit, you can pick up the first down. They squeeze the pocket tight because David is not a threat to push the corner that much. But here he does get out. He freezes Hammonds ever so slightly for a minute, and then he just explodes by him and picks up big yardage.
First and 10. The ball is at the 47. 5:37 the time remaining in the opening quarter here at Frank Blair Stadium in Ottawa. Archer over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Rogers again, the man who opened the play with that 48-yard pass reception down the sidelines.
Take a look at Rogers to the inside. Man-to-man coverage, gets to the inside route. The pass is slightly underthrown. The reason being, Alfred Payton clocks David Archer right before he releases the ball.
These were the 2 key offensive figures last week against Calgary. Rogers, 8 catches for 127 yards, and as Dan pointed out, 12 carries for Denal and 123 yards and a touchdown. Unfortunately for Ottawa, they came up 7 points short of knocking off the #1 team in the East. Archer flushed out of the pocket. He got away from Hammonds, and he dives, but will be about a yard short of a first down. He got across the midfield stripe, but he had to get to about the 52.5-yard line.
I think if he should, you don't even think about it. Line it up, third, and ever what distance it is, make the first down. Build up a little bit of enthusiasm. Build some confidence in your offense right now. You're out of the playoffs. You can be a spoiler on today. Go out there and take a chance.
Well, some of the media in Ottawa were very critical of head coach John Payne and the decision to go for a 2-point conversion against Calgary. He said he wasn't aware of what the score was at the time.
Well, he truly said that, and again, David Archer would defend him. He looked up at the scoreboard. There was a light out in one of the scoreboard clocks. We'll talk about it soon after this play.
A third down gamble for Ottawa. Denal, the ball carrier, he should have the first down.
Good surge off the left side behind O'Keefe and Stevenson. But to finish that, you're right. It's the head coach's responsibility to know what the score is at all times. He has to know the situation and what to do. Good surge off that left side. And look at the guy that's leading the block. That's number 56. That looks like Jermaine Younger, lining him up as a fullback. This guy's a talented athlete. Give it to Denal. He gets the first down for you. Keep this drive alive.
First and 10. The ball is at the 51 of Montreal. The handoff to Dave Denal. He follows his blocking, and he's got another first down to the 33. Boy, he made an excellent cut behind the block of Chuck Esty.
Chuck Esty does an excellent job. Going to pull out behind, just coming from the left of your screen. Goes all the way outside, seals off the outside. Alfred Payton can't get there. Denal, with that quick speed and that surge that he has, able to break into the corner, then cut back across the grain, keep this drive going. Big first down. And again, a good confidence builder for this offense after the pickup of that first down in the third and short situation.
An 18-yard run for Dave Denal. Good fake inside. Archer with time over the middle. It's intercepted. Irvin Smith, the cornerback, has got the football and going down the sidelines. He's forced out by David Archer. Turnovers have really hurt the Ottawa Rough Riders this year in crucial situations. And the Alouettes take over with 2:55 remaining in this opening quarter. Irvin Smith's 5th interception of the season snuffs out an Ottawa drive. That ties him for the Montreal team lead in interceptions with Charles Gordon. Each of the defensive backs has 5 picks this year. Montreal takes over 1st and 10. The Alouettes are at their own 54-yard line, 2:48 remaining in this opening quarter. Ottawa leading by a score of 3-1. 3 receivers wide to the right. Pringle, the lone setback, and he's stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Met head on by the middle linebacker, Jermaine Younger.
Well, let's go back and take an interception. Take a look at the interception. As Bobby Gordon's going to come from the left of your screen. Goes across the formation. Hold it right there. Just 1 second. Here's Irv. Let it go now. Watch Irv come off of his man, West. Picks up the ball in the air. Great play by the cornerback. Comes up with the 5th.
The 17th interception that David Archer has thrown this year, 20 touchdown passes. When you put the ball in the air, you're going to get picked off, but you don't like to see the ratio between touchdown passes and interceptions as close as they are for Archer. The pass down the sidelines intended for Harrell. That's the 2nd time they've attempted to go deep to Harrell. First down the right side, now down the left side, and both passes were a little overthrown.
Well, when you take a look at who they have on the outside, they had Harrell, Nigel Williams on one side. They've caught a total of 35 passes between the guys in 96. Armstrong's caught 45, Climby's caught 55. That's 100 passes. Truly, you can figure out from that point, Tracy Ham likes to throw the ball inside to the slots, so when he throws it to the outside, he's just trying to stretch the defense out, create more room on the inside.
Wilhite takes Terry Baker's 3rd down punt. Nowhere for him to go. And he's brought down at the 18 with 1:41 remaining in the first quarter.
The last time these teams met, a crowd of more than 28,000 watched as Wayne Walker scored a touchdown in the first quarter. He had 8 passes for 158 yards, a 17-6 Ottawa win over Montreal. And a great day for Ottawa football as fans rallied and David Archer walked the perimeter of the field afterwards saluting Ottawa football fans. And how about Wayne Walker? 5 weeks later, he finally gets back into the lineup, a victim of the import ratio.
David Archer looks to the sidelines, and there's nobody over there. It looked as though Robert Gordon may have been the intended receiver, but there was some miscommunication between the receiver and the quarterback as to the pattern to be run.
Not the normal kind of play that you would see from David Archer. He's faked the handoff to the inside, comes out on the boot. He set up very quickly, saw good coverage, man-to-man coverage by Montreal. They play a lot of press, man-to-man coverage. That means bump and run. They're going to get up on the line of scrimmage, take away the ability to get off the line of scrimmage. David Archer just threw it up in the stands.
4 receivers wide to the right. The pass over the middle to Rogers. Rogers slipped as he was attempting to make the cut and goes down under Tracy Gravely. This will be close to a 1st down. Let's see where they spot it.
They mark it right. It should be probably about 3rd and about a yard or so.
Well, the fans imploring John Payne and the Rough Riders to go for it once again. And I agree with what you said earlier, Kep. They've got nothing to lose. Why not go for it?
Well, create some excitement out there, but start to build some confidence again in your offense of what you can do. David Archer is a big man. He's 6'2", about 210 pounds. He's got big James Monroe, who's about 275 up in front of him. The defense is a yard off the line of scrimmage. If you got to pick up a yard, get that quarterback sneak, get after it, tell the offense, I'm counting on you to do the job, make a block. You got to go for that one.
I think you've got to go for it. I agree with you. And they're going to send in the short yardage unit. John Payne signed on as the receiver and special team coach on July the 1st. He replaced Mike Murphy in that role. Then on July the 4th, he took over as head coach and offensive coordinator from Jim Gilstrap. Well, there seems to be all sorts of confusion at the Ottawa bench. Have they got enough people out there? Well, if they only had 11, they still pick up the first down.
I tell you what, if they only had 5 or 6 out there, the only thing they need is the 5 offensive linemen and David Archer to hold on to the snap. They should have got that, and they actually did.
Backup quarterback Steve Taylor conferring on the sidelines with head man John Payne as David Archer converts the third down gamble into a Rough Rider first down.
You see the big surge off of those offensive linemen. You see the one guy, that's number 694, Doug Peterson, is coming out there, turned around with his butt to the center. They drove him back. That's why they picked up the first down.
Quick inside pattern intended for Bolduc. He couldn't get there in time. Middle linebacker Paul Randolph was waiting for him.
Hey, take a look at David. David Payne looked at him and said, use your eyes. You've got to use your eyes. Find out where that open spot is. I'm going to throw it to you. He may have short-armed him a little bit, looking at the outside linebacker, Jason Bryant, number 11, that was right there.
Second game back for Jason Bryant at a linebacking position. Hurley Brown had been playing the spot in his absence. 3 receivers wide left. All alone out in the flat is Willie Hinchcliffe, and he's got a first down. Lost the football, but fortunately he was on the sidelines, and that's where it went out of bounds. And that is the final play of the opening quarter here at Frank Blair Stadium, with the Rough Riders leading by 2 points over Montreal. Well, Hinchcliffe was fortunate, Dan, that he was right on the sidelines when that ball was knocked from his grasp because it went out of bounds. Otherwise, Montreal might have recovered.
Take a look at David Archer. Great eyes. He sets himself up. A lot of power when he throws that ball out there. Now, this guy's a world-class sprinter. He's not really established himself as a great wide receiver yet, but he can. David Archer knows that he needs to get him involved in the offensive system.
Has there ever been another player from New Zealand in the CFL?
I don't know. No, I would say not.
To start the second quarter, it is 1st and 10. Ottawa, the ball is at the 47. Sideline pattern for Walker. Douglas Kraft was over defending against him. It will be 2nd and 10. Statistically, this is what happened in the opening quarter. The edge to the Ottawa Rough Riders. But as we pointed out, they had problems when they got down inside the red zone, and that has been their downfall the entire season.
They've been able to move the ball from the 20 to the 20 at will a lot of times against good defensive teams, but when they get, as you said, inside the red zone, they just have not been able to concentrate and put it in the end zone.
They attempted a little razzle-dazzle. I'm sure that Andre Bolduc was to throw the football back to David Archer, but he never got an opportunity. He got turned, but was unable to throw the ball back to him. Dave Denal, fortunately for Ottawa, was able to recover.
Flea flicker play, it looks like. Now watch David Archer. He's going to hand it off. He's going to set himself up. Now Bolduc's going to try to turn around, lateral it back. But this great defense of Montreal, great penetration, is able to get in there and just jam this completely up. Carter says, nuh-uh, don't bring that weak stuff to my side.
People refer to it as a flea flicker, but I think the terminology flea flicker was the play where you threw to a wideout and the running back came running past and took the little toss.
You're exactly right. That is where it is, where you've got a back coming out or a slot back coming out of the wide side.
Harrell is going to lose yards back to the 5. He took the ball up about the 20 and trying to go to the outside, lost 10 yards on the play.
Good coverage. Steinhauer is one of the...
John Payne, the head coach of the Ottawa Rough Riders, has been involved with the CFL for a long time, beginning in 1968 as an assistant coach in Edmonton. He's been in Winnipeg, Regina, Hamilton, back to Winnipeg, Toronto, Sacramento, BC, Winnipeg, and now the head coach of the Ottawa Rough Riders. Movement at the line of scrimmage. Jermaine Younger may have crossed the line before the ball was snapped.
Tracy does a really good job in those situations. He can see that linebacker over there getting really antsy, and then he'll stutter that count. He'll give you that hut, hut, hut. Just that voice inflection that he does, and it is something.
Ottawa number 56. Still first down.
Just a little over anxious was Jermaine Younger. It will be 1st and 5 now from the 10-yard line.
At best, middle linebackers are over anxious. That could be the least of anybody's worry out there.
1st and 5, Montreal. Hand off to Pringle, and Pringle is going to get a first down as he takes it out to the 18-yard line. Jason Jakovich was one of those who came up to make the tackle on Mike Pringle. In his debut against the Ottawa Rough Riders on August 30th, Pringle really didn't set the world on fire. He carried 10 times for 46 yards, but he's made steady improvement since then, and he had an outstanding game against Montreal, or against Hamilton on September 29th, running for 150 yards.
This is a guy that just had to get used to the offense and the offensive line up front, and he can make things happen after that fact.
Pringle takes the little swing pass, and he brings it up close to the 30-yard line. That looks like another Montreal first down.
Tracy does a great job of reading the defense, dumps it to Pringle upfield so that he's running upfield. He has his momentum upfield, catches the ball in full stride. I don't care whether that's a pretty catch or an ugly catch. Mike Pringle that time got it done, picked up the big yardage, kept this drive alive, moved them out up deep in their own end.
3 receivers wide to the right. Draw play with Pringle again, and Pringle was tripped up. Lamar McGriggs is the man who got a hand out to spill Mike Pringle as he came across the 30-yard line.
Same play that they had some success with earlier. Spread out the defense across the width of the field. Give the draw play. Let Pringle give it to him deep. Let him use his visions to find the open area. But this Ottawa defense, to its credit, has played pretty steady through the course of the 96 season. This has been a highlight of this team for the 96 season.
Montreal has yet to score a touchdown this year. They are now in their 6th quarter against Ottawa without putting the ball in the end zone. Tracy Ham running out of there and trying to stay on the sidelines to get a first down. And he has got it.
Tracy's not running as much as he used to. When he first got into this league, he ran very scared a lot of times. Now he runs incredibly smart. He has matured. He's still looking downfield. He's going to break the line of scrimmage, walk down, go parallel down the line of scrimmage, try to find an open receiver until the final point, the 11th hour, where he says, I can't go anywhere else. I can't find an open play. I'm going to have to tuck it, pick up the first down. Dixon does a great job of taking care of the block and creating a hole for Tracy Ham.
In 1990, when he was with Edmonton, Ham set a rushing record for quarterbacks. He loses the exchange from center and pays the price as McGriggs takes a shot at him as he's scrambling for the loose ball.
That's 2 bad exchanges that they've had between Tracy Ham and Mike Whitcomb. One of the guys that they had on this offensive line, we talked about how good it is Subas. And he's out with a broken ankle. They thought he just had a tear in there and was hopefully going to be back by the end of the season. He's not going to be back. Tracy Ham just never got a handle on that, and McGriggs is on top of him to make sure he stays down.
Whitcomb was named the outstanding lineman in the CFL last year. He started the first 3 games of the season at tackle, and as Dan pointed out, with the injury to Subas, he moved to center. Nigel Williams is the man way downfield at the 20-yard line that Ham was looking for, and Frank West was able to knock it away from him. 10-12 is the time remaining in the first half in a low-scoring affair here at Frank Clair Stadium. Ottawa leading by a 3-1 margin.
Take a look at the top of your screen. It's right there. He's going to come off the line of scrimmage. It's Nigel. But the guy that's there, Frank West, the corner that's getting his first start, Tracy Ham has plenty of time. The safety's wide open down the middle. Nowhere to go.
Wilhite takes the Baker punt. Wilhite won't get any further than the 28-yard line. Rashawn Giddings was the man downfield with help from Hensey Charles to limit the return to 8 yards. Welcome back to Frank Clair Stadium. 9:56 is the time remaining in the second quarter. The Ottawa Rough Riders take over, 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. The toss to Dave Denal. He tries to cut back. A lot of bodies over on the far side of the field. And Denal goes down at the 33-yard line. The second quarter this year has been the best for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Almost a third of their points have been scored in the second quarter.
With that 257 represents they are last in the league in scoring points. The Montreal Alouettes are third. They have scored 383 points coming into this game.
And the second quarter has been the worst for Montreal. They've yielded more second quarter points than any other quarter. Rogers makes the catch. He's got an Ottawa first down, taking the ball out to the 43.
David Archer in this offense is successful when he has a quick release. They play a lot of bump, a lot of press. That means if you make a little move at the line of scrimmage and you're able to get away from the defender, if you can get the ball in your hands, you can make something happen. This is one guy you've got to keep out of the backfield, and Okiki does a good job of keeping Payton away from David Archer.
Hinchcliffe lines up wide right, Walker to the left. Draw play. Ball Duke picked up about a yard, maybe a yard and a half.
Randolph and Bryant, the two guys in there, middle linebacker standing right in the middle, doing a great job. Paul Randolph, a steady player, gets from sideline to sideline, plays good pass coverage, and he's strong enough at 230 to take on those centers, Monroe in the middle, slide off of that, make the play on the draw.
Paul Randolph spent 7 years with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers before signing as a free agent with Montreal. 36 career sacks for the veteran linebacker. The pass was deflected, and that's always dangerous. It was almost picked off in the secondary.
Having a chance to talk with David Ritchie, the defensive coordinator of Montreal, says that Ottawa likes to run a lot of crossing routes. The slot's coming in, coming across the middle, and if we're going to play some defense, we're going to slough off. Look at number 11, that's Jason Bryant right at the end. Sees that he's not going to get any kind of penetration, watches David Archer's arm movement. As soon as the ball's released, he gets vertical, gets his hand on it.
Harrell is the lone man back for this third down punt by Wayne Lamley.
Hey, you got Brandon, you got 24 now. Use the hand, move it out. Ready?
Coming off the corner, Charles Gordon almost got to that Wayne Lamley punt. Now Harrell, who made a mistake the last time, will atone for it here. He stays on his feet and then runs out of room as he gets up to the 47-yard line. I'm sure when he went over to the bench after his last punt return, the coaching staff told him, don't go backwards trying to pick up additional yards.
Well, a lot of that times when they go backwards, they're trying to give up a little ground because they're trying to get some depth to allow the wall to come down to it, and then he's able to get around to the corner. Take a look. He catches it about the 20, goes right across parallel down that line of scrimmage at the 20-yard. Then he still makes the corner, gets it upfield, and a couple of good moves.
A 27-yard run back for Gary Harrell. A low-scoring game here at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa on this Thanksgiving Monday. 7:18 remaining in the second quarter. It's 1st and 10 Montreal. Following that punt return by Gary Harrell, they scrimmage at the 46-yard line. Hands under pressure, and he'll go down. There's also a penalty flag on the play. And when it's thrown in the backfield like that, it usually indicates holding by the offensive line.
Lubo Zizakovic gets in there. That could be his third sack of the season. There is a holding call.
Holding. Montreal number 62. Decline. Second down.
Bruce Beaton, the ex-Calgary Stampeder, gets called on that holding. Just inside guard, just to the left of your screen. one-on-one against number 98. That's Izakovic. He gets pulled down from behind, but Lubo still makes the sack.
Harrell goes out. Montana comes in for Montreal on second down. Ham throwing over into the flat. Incomplete, intended for Nigel Williams. Williams last year played with the Ottawa Rough Riders. He caught 20 passes for Ottawa.
Well, it seems like Tracy Ham is kind of concentrating on trying to get the ball to the outside, almost forcing it to a point. Sets up, still looking inside. Then he finds Nigel, but he's really not throwing very well. He's throwing that ball back off balance, didn't really get his weight planted and going forward.
Charles Gordon is back for this third down punt. Make that Robert Gordon. He will take it at the 30-yard line. And the first contact is enough to bring him down, but then a face mask violation will probably be called against Montreal. That was a 42-yard punt and a loss of 3 yards for Robert Gordon on the attempted return.
Major foul. Face mask. Montreal number 19. First down.
John Kalin guilty of the face mask violation. Here's the first contact by Hensey Charles. Now watch Kalin come in, reach out, and there's the face mask of Robert Gordon being pulled to the side, and the penalty will improve the field position to the 41-yard line.
John Kalin, first-round draft pick by Calgary in '94, ended up in Edmonton for a while and got picked up in the dispersal draft of the Canadians by the Montreal Alouettes.
Dave Denault with some good moves, and Denault could go all the way. Walker throws a block that will spring into the end zone. A 69-yard touchdown run for Dave Denault. Boy, he had some good moves when he got through that line of scrimmage, Dan.
Excellent moves. He got great speed in the backfield when that explosion took place. All he had to do was hit the hole, and then he got right into the secondary very, very quickly, made a good move back across the grain.
Denault had a 48-yard run against Calgary last week in a 123-yard total performance. A 69-yard romp for the touchdown against the Montreal Alouettes. And with the point after, it's now a 10-1 football game. Ottawa leading Montreal.
What a terrific thing. This is David Denault right up here. Watch him come across the line of scrimmage. Counter play, going to come back across the line. Now he gets right past the line of attack, makes a great move on Spencer McClanahan, leaves him standing, and then cuts back across the grain. You're not going to catch him at that point. Take a look again at this thing. David Denault, he gets a good block by Okiki. That counter trap again sets him up. Spencer does not get his feet up underneath him. He makes the same move against Douglas Kraft, and again, that kind of position when you're from a defensive player, the view isn't that good when you see the guy running away from you.
Well, when he got to the line of scrimmage, I'm sure some of the people in the linebacking and secondary positions must have been thinking his body parts were all going different directions.
Well, it's the kind of thing that you wonder. Shoulders moving one way, hips going another way. Just do not give a defensive guy a good target to hit at.
Well, you know, there's a feeling in Ottawa, and I think throughout the rest of the CFL as well, that this right now is a pretty good football team in the nation's capital.
Well, this is a steady football team. This guy, you have to think of all of the obstacles they've had to overcome, and it started the second week in this season when they got rid of the coach and got John Payne in here.
Gary Harrell on the kickoff return is upset as he gets to the 36-yard line. Dave Denault is the man who put it in the end zone. One play, 69 yards. And that's the way you like to strike when you're an offensive player.
First and 10, Montreal.
David Archer has an opportunity when he has a guy that is that kind of weapon in his backfield, it opens up his whole repertoire and he makes his job a whole lot easier. You can hand the ball off to him. The offensive line does a good job. They get good aggressive blocking in there. Then it starts to set up your play action passing game, and that's where David Archer and this offense can be very scary.
1st and 10 from the 37. Tracy Ham looking to his wideout, Harrell, and Harrell is brought down immediately by Leonard Humphreys.
Watch this one-on-one play. Leonard Humphreys is going to bait just a bit. Tracy's again is going to throw that wide side out. It hangs up just a bit. Had Humphrey picked the ball up quicker and made a good explosion on the ball and a move to it, that could have been a pick going 60 other way.
That is Tracy Ham's first completion to someone other than a running back in this football game. Comes up with it, but they're ruling no interception. The ball bounced in front of him. And Ham again was under pressure, and the Montreal Alouettes will be forced to kick it away. Swift Birch had burst through on the Montreal quarterback.
Swift Birch does a great job of getting rid of Mike Sutherland up front, comes underneath, and he forced Tracy Ham. We talked to Coach Price yesterday. We were saying there, and said, Coach, is it tough to get ready to play these kind of guys? I mean, they're out of it. They can do whatever they can. He said, absolutely. I'm afraid of it because we need to start really sharpening our edge to get ready for the playoff run.
Wilhite on the kickoff return and the punt return, and he runs into one of his own players up at the 22-yard line. And that's where Ottawa will scrimmage. 1st and 10. That was a 54-yard punt by Terry Baker. 7 yards on the run back for Wilhite. You know, we talked about the improved play of the Ottawa Rough Riders recently. They won back-to-back games against Saskatchewan and Montreal, and they were in it in their 2 against Calgary and the game against Toronto. And they lost by 3 points to Hamilton. You know, one play here or there in those 4 losses, and this could be an entirely different story for the Ottawa Rough Riders in the final few games of the season.
Exactly right, Wood. There's probably 4, 5, 6 plays during the course of the game that dictate the outcome.
Walker, he can't hang on, and is that reminiscent of a pass thrown to him in the loss to Toronto?
This is a guy, I think, you're either going to love him or you're going to hate him. And it doesn't matter. It could be whatever week it is. One week, he's going to make the great Houdini kind of catch, and he's going to win a ball game for you. And then a week like last week against Calgary, he drops one. He drops this one here. Just the lack of concentration. That ball perfectly thrown, easy catchable pass.
Well, if Walker was wondering why he was taken out of the lineup when they ran into an non-import ratio situation, passes dropped like that probably provide a partial explanation. Another pass intended for Walker. It falls short of the intended target. And Ottawa will now be forced to send out the punting unit with 3:38 remaining in the 2nd quarter.
Good heat up front. This offensive line trying to do a good job, and Chris Burns is asked to do a heck of a job against a good outside rusher, maybe a great outside rusher, and Alfred Payton.
Yeah, Payton has really been a force for Montreal since returning to the team. Coach Bob Price was saying he may have been in the best shape of his career when he came back to rejoin the Alouettes on August 30th for their game here against Ottawa.
You get down there in those NFL camps and you go through the preseason, you're trying to work your butt off and make the team. You're going to do anything. You cannot make those kind of teams when you're out of shape.
Harold waits for Lamley's punt at the 47-yard line, trying to use the sideline. And he's brought down by Travis Anderson. A 40-yard kick, 10 yards on the run back. 3:11 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Montreal this year against Ottawa has yet to put the ball in the end zone, and Montreal has really struggled offensively in the first half. Following this game, we'll move to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Stampeders take on the Toronto Argonauts. Top 2 teams, East and West, in their 2nd meeting of the season. And that's McMahon Stadium. Scott Oak, Chris Cuthbert, and James Curry awaiting the start of that Big battle between the top two teams in their respective conferences. This is a big week for Toronto out west. They will remain out west all week before taking on Edmonton next weekend.
One of the key players that we talked about, Michael Souls, I want you to watch him come across the formation and the block that he makes on Dwayne Knight. This is a guy totally unselfish, doesn't get to carry the ball as much as he would like to, but he's going to block for a guy like Mike Pringle, seals off that corner, does an excellent job of having Pringle pick up good yardage.
Second down play, and it's Pringle again. He lost his helmet when hit by Jermaine Younger. For a moment, I thought the football had popped away, but it was a helmet that came off, and it was Jermaine Younger who lost his headgear.
Take a look at this low angle. Michael Souls again, he gets the kick-out block against Dwayne Knight, but boom! In comes Younger, helmet right on top of the ball, trying to jar that loose. Loses his own helmet. Michael Pringle able to hold on to the ball. Stands him up in the hole, and then the pursuit comes and takes care of Mike Pringle.
Just inches shy of a first down, 2:40 remaining in the first half. And there's no doubt at all that Montreal is going after it.
E.F. Goodrich, TA halftime report. We'll go to Calgary for a preview of part 2 of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader. Scott Oak standing by to preview the Argos and the Stamps.
On the third down gamble, Tracy Ham keeps it. He has a first down with 2:29 now remaining in the first half here at Frank Blair Stadium.
Well, you know, Whit, if I'm that guy right there, I'm a little concerned. I'm worried about my team. Even though that this can be maybe a nothing game, guys are out there thinking, I don't want to get hurt. You know, I don't have to play all that well. We got second place. It looks like we're pretty solid into that situation. But they are really not executing very good. And I think that that's a point that has to concern any coach anywhere.
Tracy Ham over the middle. This one was almost picked off. It was intended for Chris Armstrong. And Jason Jakovich, the safety, came over and got his hands on the football but couldn't pull it in. Jakovich started his CFL career with Winnipeg, then went to Toronto. It looked like a broken leg may have ended his career, but he got a chance to play with Ottawa, and he's doing a pretty good job of patrolling the middle from his safety spot.
Does an excellent job back there. JD plays the zone extremely well, has the kind of speed he can come out, play man-to-man coverage if you need him. 2 picks already this season. More importantly, he can cover the ground from sideline to sideline again.
Ham in trouble, had to hurry his throw, and again he was looking for Armstrong. And it's 2 and out for Montreal with 2:09 remaining in the second quarter.
Stacey Evans, the big tackle, 6'3", 270 out of South Carolina, doing an excellent job of working hard up the middle, slides off the block. Now he slides back into the hole, finds Tracy Ham, puts a little heat on it, forces him to throw it short.
Ottawa has managed just 3 victories this year, 32-31 over BC, 17-6 over Montreal, and 18-16 over Saskatchewan. This will be a 49-yard field goal attempt by Terry Baker. It sails wide in the end zone. Wilhite is going to run it out, and Wilhite goes to the sideline. With some help, he may go all the way for a touchdown. Oh, he got a couple of key blocks and has an escort into the end zone for a major score. A 114-yard missed field goal return for Ken Wilhite. You know, an interesting story about Wilhite. When he came to Ottawa, they were only interested in using him as a defensive back. He had to talk the coaching staff into giving him an opportunity to work on special teams as a kick returner.
And he did a great job of talking this coaching staff into it. And then more importantly, you can't only talk a good game in this business, you got to walk it too. And this guy not only walks, he runs pretty well.
And did Mark Dixon ever get hammered near the midfield stripe I'm not sure who came back to
Jeff
throw that
Cummings.
block. Jeff Cummings.
Number 99, Jeff Cummings came across and leveled Mark because Mark had a shot at Will Height.
Will Height fumbled the missed field goal attempt in the end zone. It almost looked as though he was thinking about conceding a single point. Saw no pressure. Decided then to run it out with a couple of blocks. 114 yards. And the Ottawa Rough Riders with the convert now lead 17-1.
But here's where we're going to get a look at it. Kick wide. Will Height bobbles the snap. Then he's thinking, well, take a knee, give up a point. Not a chance. We're going to go out of here the big. Go big or go home. And this guy takes it all the way to the house. Watch just to the left of your screen. Boom, there's 99. That's coming. Gets the shot on number 64, Mark Dixon. And that's what sprung him. Not only just a great individual effort by this guy.
And then with a little flop into the end zone to celebrate, there's one block. Swift Birch got Neil Fort, and that enabled Will Height to go down the sidelines, and then Cummins came across, as you said, Dan, and leveled Mark Dixon. Right there.
Right there. Just a shot comes out of nowhere. Hey, if anybody thinks this Ottawa team is going to lay down and die on you, forget it.
That ranks number 3 all time in the longest unsuccessful field goal return. Ron Hopkins, a 128-yarder for Calgary in 1990. Henry Williams had a 115-yarder for Edmonton in 1994. And this is number 3 in the all-time list, 114 yards. Cummins is smiling as he accepts congratulations on the bench for the hit he put on Mark Dixon.
You don't think the big guy's having fun out there, knocking people around? This is what you get paid for.
Now Pringle finds a hole down the sidelines and is forced out of bounds by the kicker, Lamley, at the 48 of Ottawa. 1:39 remaining in the second quarter. A second quarter that has seen Ottawa explode for 2 huge touchdowns, a 69-yard run by Denal and a 114-yard effort by Ken Wilhite.
Kenny Wilhite came into this game fourth in the CFL. All-purpose yardage was just a little over 1,700. That sure will add to his total.
Well, he leads the league in kickoff return yards, number 3 in all-purpose yards in the league.
Doesn't even get much of a chance to rest. Get back out there and play defense.
Well, the defense does its job as it buries Tracy Ham on his side of the midfield stripe, and Cummins is enjoying this first half at Frank Clair Stadium.
And got some rhythm, too, out there. He can dance. Do your stuff out there. Have a little fun today. And to think, hey, you get paid to do this. This is great. You just cannot be in a better profession. Good coverage downfield. Tracy Ham forced to hold that ball. Now check out this dance. Could start a fad.
Armstrong open over the middle, and Armstrong is brought down by Jermaine Younger, the first man to make contact with him, but not before Montreal picked up a first down at the 36 of Ottawa with 1:15 remaining in the first half.
But if I'm not mistaken, that's the first pass thrown in the direction of Armstrong. First catch that he's made. Maybe the second that it was. Then it takes to this point of the game to get one of your leading receivers involved in the offensive scheme. Something's a little off. Something is just doesn't jive here.
Armstrong again, and very close to another Montreal first down. The ball is at the 28. Miro and McGriggs combined to bring down Chris Armstrong.
It's all part of the zone. Armstrong does a great job sitting there, just sitting down. Tracy Ham this time had enough time. Quick set, 3-step drop, gets the ball into his hands quickly, and let this guy do something with it.
Armstrong, the number 2 receiver for Montreal behind Jock Climie. In 5 seasons in the CFL, Chris Armstrong closing in on 5,000 yards.
couple of big years. Baltimore, 94, has 72 catches, 1,586 yards with 18 touchdowns.
And previous action in the CFL in Edmonton. Had a brief stint with Ottawa as well.
And also Saskatchewan. 300-yard plus games this year in receptions.
Second and less than a yard. Nigel Williams comes out wide to the left. Pringle, the lone setback.
Take this one to the end zone.
Fake inside to Pringle. End zone throw well over the intended receiver, Gary Harrell. Will Height and Djokovic were both defending against Harrell. It almost appears, Dan, as though the Montreal game plan is to try to get the ball into the hands of the wideout.
Well, it seems like it from what we're seeing up here. Tracy is throwing quite a bit more times to his wideouts, more so than he normally would. And maybe that's just to make some of these other teams start to think and have to really do respect what he's going to do offensively as far as throwing the ball to the wideout. They haven't been doing it. A lot of the defenses have been closing it in, squeezing it down, and taking away the slots as much as they can, and forgetting about the outside guys.
Well, the second down and inches play, the plan to put it in the end zone didn't work, so on third down and inches, Tracy Ham kept the ball and picked up the first down. He gets to the 26 of Ottawa with 32 seconds remaining in the first half. Ham is under pressure. Ham will run, and he's got a lot of room. The first touchdown that Montreal has scored this year against Ottawa. Tracy Ham runs it in, and in the process becomes the all-time rushing leader among quarterbacks in the CFL. There's also a penalty flag in the play. This one might be coming back.
No. It's defensive pass interference.
I saw the Ottawa players reacting, and I thought for a moment that they were celebrating the flag.
Not sure, it looked like Frank West on the back, the corner got caught, and it was way far away from the play on the other side of the field. But as I said earlier, Tracy just has not been running that much. He came into the game 59 carries, 428 yards, but now he runs when he needs to, not when he gets scared or when he has to.
Well, he possesses that other weapon that keeps defenses on their toes. He can run the ball and does such a fine job. And the moment things opened up, there wasn't much doubt about what Tracy Ham was going to do.
Well, Tracy admitted also, he said it's important that, he says, I've got to get myself into this game too. Either by throwing the ball, running the ball, doing something that's important to this game. And this is maybe one way that Tracy gets himself into the game, plus also his offense into this ball game. Wide open, good coverage, man-to-man, everybody strung out all over the field. Those linebackers, sometimes on a one-on-one against Tracy Ham, it gets to be a mismatch. Younger comes from the outside. Swift Birch has a chance to try to come down the line of scrimmage. Dwayne Knight tries to come all the way across the formation, but Tracy Ham has some speed. He's not the leading rusher in quarterback history for nothing.
Well, he's become a real leader with this Montreal team. The players say he interacts with other players. When he was in Edmonton, there was some criticism about Tracy Ham. They said he was moody, quick feet, and an even quicker temper. But Tracy admits that he's probably mellowed a little with age.
Well, I think maybe not mellowed, but he sure has matured.
Will Hyde on the return is brought down at the 28-yard line with 11 seconds remaining in the first half.
Full day at the office for Will Height. Punt returns, missed field goal returns, playing solid defense. And Bob Price having a conversation with Tracy Ham.
6 plays, 49 yards for the touchdown by Tracy Ham. Ham, number 8 all-time in CFL passing yardage. In touchdown passes, number 4 all-time, 221 in his career. And now the leader among quarterbacks in rushing yardage.
And when you take into consideration the kind of quarterbacks that they've had up here and the names that they've had up here and the kind of runners that they've had, That's quite an accomplishment by Tracy Ham.
Well, you know, in all fairness to Tracy Ham, when he came into the Edmonton Eskimo organization, they had a history of outstanding quarterbacks. Jackie Parker, Tom Wilkinson, Warren Moon, Matt Dunnigan. And there was pressure on him to perform in Edmonton. And when he didn't deliver as they anticipated, he was involved in that 8-for-8 trade with Toronto.
And that's quite a compliment, I'd say, just jokingly, if you're going to throw Tom Wilkinson in there as a Russian quarterback. I don't think Warren Moon, yeah, but not old Wilkie. It wasn't pretty, but Wilkie got the job done.
So the Ottawa Rough Riders head for the dressing room here at Frank Clair Stadium, leading the Montreal Alouettes in this first of a home-and-home affair that will take these two teams back to Montreal next weekend. Mark?
Thank you, Whit. Just before the half, Montreal head coach Bob Price, good enough to stop by for a chat. Bob, tell me about the Tracy Ham touchdown. That has to be a huge lift for what looked like a disastrous first half for your team.
Oh, no doubt. You know, we certainly are not playing up to our potential here. And you know, Tracy took matters into his own hand and ran through their defense, and that's what we needed to lift us.
Bob, is there one tendency that might account for that 69-yard run by Denal and then the 114-yard return by Wilhite?
Is there, I'm sorry.
Is there a tendency there that would account for those two huge plays, those two breakdowns?
Well, you know, the return on the kick, you know, that was something, you know, it's crazy how we spent just a few minutes this morning going over exactly that, and you know, that kid just made us miss. We had some sloppy tackling, and on the long run from scrimmage, that you know, that's something that probably weren't as prepared for as we needed to be.
All right, Bob, appreciate your time.
All right.
Bob Price, the head coach of the Alouettes, who trail Ottawa 17-8 at the half. The B.F. Goodrich TA halftime report is next.
Welcome to the B.F. Goodrich TA halftime. Now here's your host, Mark Lee.
Welcome back to Frank Clair Stadium, where the hometown Rough Riders lead the Alouettes 17-8 at the half. Game 2 of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader coming up at 7 Eastern when we take you west to Calgary for the Stampeders and the Argonauts. It is Doug Flutie's first return to Calgary since he joined the Toronto Argonauts. They're waiting for him there in droves. They're collecting mittens for charity, but it's a satirical jab there at Flutie and his cold hands he had back in 1993 in the Western Final. With Scott Oakes, suffice to say, this has all the makings for a great fall classic.
Mark, you're right about that. They're expecting 30,000, one of the largest crowds of the season at McMahon Stadium, to watch this rematch of the Argos and the Stampeders. The Argos have taken care of first place in the East. Now at 12-2, it's first overall in the CFL they're targeting. Doug Flutie is the centerpiece of the team and this game, but the Argos are very much the sum of their parts. And one of the most important is Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, who helped finish the Stamps 3 weeks ago at Skydome with this 93-yard punt return. The Jet spoke with Chris Cuthbert earlier. Well, as Wally Buono said, the big difference in the first meeting between these two teams was the punt returns, i.e. Jimmy Cunningham. Can punt returns and specialty teams be the difference in the second meeting?
Well, you know, special teams will always be, you know, a big difference because without special teams, you can't get good field position. So hopefully tomorrow, come out there and do well, and we have good field position and put that thing in the end zone.
A lot of talk about Doug Flutie coming back to Calgary. Does the rest of the offense feel that and want to support the quarterback to make sure it's a good return?
You know, we're behind Doug 100%. Coming here to Calgary is like going to BC or Hamilton. You know, we come out here to win, and hopefully we'll do that tomorrow.
Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Flutie's successor will have some motivation. Jeff Garcia lost the head-to-head duel with Flutie in Toronto on September 21st, so going the distance in a win today would be just fine with Garcia.
Playing the best team in the CFL, of course you want to be able to respond and play your type of game. I think that they squeaked out a win over in Toronto. They came up with some big plays that enabled them to get the win, and I think that's what we need to do tomorrow. We need to come up with some big plays. We need to limit mistakes and definitely prove to the CFL that we're not slacking off, that we are still one of the top teams in the league and that we're going to be there in the end.
And the Stampeders find themselves in unfamiliar territory for this time of year, which is to say they have a meaningful game after Labor Day for the first time in 3 years. Usually at this point in the season, the Stamps have long since clinched first place, and so today they're playing for something more than reputation. So it's the Argos and the Stampeders coming up in the second half of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader. Back to you, Mark.
All right, Scott, looking forward to Doug Flutie's not-so-warm homecoming in Calgary. Here in Ottawa, it's 17-8 Montreal. The BF Goodrich TA halftime report continues after this. Welcome back to the BF Goodrich TA halftime report in Ottawa on a beautiful Thanksgiving Day Monday, and the hometown Roughies up 17-8. This does not look like a football team that has been eliminated from the playoffs and is going through the motions.
Not at all, Mark. This team has actually played pretty well over its last half dozen games, and 2 explosive touchdowns in the second quarter propelled Ottawa into a 17-1 lead. The first, Dave Denal running 69 yards. Denal 123 yards last week against Calgary, and he showed Montreal some of that elusive movement as he came through the line of scrimmage.
Counter trap, good blocking by Okike, and what he does now, just open field running, speed, good vision, gets the ball into the house.
So that was a 69-yard touchdown run for Dave Denal. Then it looked as though Montreal was going to narrow the gap. Will Height, a field goal attempt in reverse as we take a look at it. The ball placed on the kicking tee for Terry Baker. And initially we talked about this one going 114 yards. We had to run it back to get the additional 3 yards on.
I think it makes it 228 going the 114 one way and go back the other.
Actually, they have officially corrected it to a 117-yard unsuccessful field goal return.
Look at that. He first drops the ball. Looks like he's going to be nailed for a loss, then turns it on.
And the question was right at that point, do I take the knee, give up the point? No, he says, hey, like I said, this is a gamble. This is a crapshoot. Let's roll the dice. Let's make something big happen. And they did that right there. All that return team helped out.
And en route to the end zone, Will Height got some great blocking along the way. One in particular, Jeff Cummins on Mark Dixon.
But for a game and a half until the final minute of this first half, the Alouettes had yet to score a touchdown until Ham took it in.
But when it gets to the point now, they had great coverage downfield, and if Tracy Ham in Montreal has to beat you with him rushing the ball, I don't think Ottawa will be beaten in the second half. But I think that they will make a big change at halftime, and you'll see a different Montreal team come out.
Well, Montreal has the edge in almost every department except first downs and time of possession.
So the big question for the Montreal offense, as you mentioned, Tracy Ham has to distribute his passes to more than the running back, Mike Pringle. That was his tendency in the first half of this football game. So right now, we've got a close one going. It's 17-8. The hometown Rough Riders in front of the Montreal Alouettes. We'll be back on a beautiful fall afternoon in Ottawa with the second half kickoff right after this.
Wayne Lamley preparing to kick off to get this second half underway. Pringle, Souls, and Harrell are back for this Ottawa kickoff. Ottawa leading by a score of 17-8. Souls takes the ball. One of the few times this afternoon that he has touched the football for Montreal, and he does a good job of running it back to the 52-yard line, brought down by Steinauer. So Montreal will have good field position for their first offensive series of the second half. Tracy Ham early in the ball game had difficulty getting the ball into the hands of his slot backs or wideouts.
Those last 2 catches by Armstrong didn't come until late in the second quarter.
The toss to Pringle. Pringle following some blocking, turns the corner. And Pringle is forced out of bounds at the 43 of Ottawa.
Mike Pringle has such great speed, he can get to the outside very quickly. Toss play, outside, good blocking, seals off the corner. He's getting good blocking by his outside receivers. Harrell, also Armstrong on that side, enables him to pick up big yardage.
First and 10 from the 43-yard line. 3 receivers wide to the right. Pringle, the lone back.
Draw play.
Pringle keeps those feet churning and manages to convert a nothing play into about a 5-yard gain.
Powerful back, small, 5'8", goes about 185, 190 pounds. Big, powerful legs, and he keeps them churning, enables him to pick up more yardage and a lot of carries that he makes.
And he really enjoys the work. When he established the league record of 1,972 yards in 1994, he carried the ball 308 times. Climby with his first catch of the day, and he has a gain of about 5, maybe 6 yards. It looks as though he's got the first down. There's a penalty flag on the play as well. Joe Merrow is the injured player.
2 penalty flags also, and one is very late. It happened after the catch, and I think it's going to come back. Montreal running some over and under routes with the 2 inside receivers, and I think either Jock Climby or Armstrong were called by making some contact with one of the Ottawa defenders, and that enabled that catch to be made.
Montreal number 22, repeat second down.
The call on Michael Soule, so Jock Climby, who came into this game 22 yards shy of being a 1,000-yard receiver, is still looking for his first catch of the day.
Exactly. Michael Soule comes out of the backfield, takes out Jermaine Younger, and that enables Climby to make that catch.
Penalty flag again, and this pass is complete to Chris Armstrong, but I've got a feeling this one is also coming back. It's going to be holding against Montreal.
Jeff Cummings is sitting back there. He's giving a little referee. He's going to be the zebra. Bring it back, buddy. He says, because I was being held, bring it back. This is going for nothing.
Holding. Montreal number 60, repeat second down.
Mike Sutherland was guilty of the holding infraction. Sutherland came over to Montreal from the Saskatchewan practice roster in August.
Mike Sutherland, number 60. Now you see the right hand up around the helmet and shoulder pads. Now he's got a lot of cloth inside on Jeff Cummings. That right hand's grabbing the jersey of Jeff Cummings. That's why he knew that flag was going to count, and that play was coming back.
2nd and 25, Montreal.
Screen.
Read well by Humphries. He came roaring up from his corner linebacking position, and he was there waiting for Pringle at almost the same instant the ball arrived.
Well, I apologize. I'm starting to yell screen out here. I'm like a middle linebacker again. Your first move once you stop into your drop in the zone as a linebacker, you see the play forming in front of you. You're going to yell to everybody to let them know so that a guy like Humphries can come off of his coverage, come up quickly, and close in and make that play for no gain.
Whistle went before the play got underway. I think they were too anxious in getting that play underway. I don't think there's going to be a penalty call against either team. Players were still leaving the field and players were still coming on when the ball was snapped.
You're exactly right, Fred. I think it was a quick snap, and there was about 5 Ottawa players just making their way off the field.
Gordon waits for the ball. Gordon trying to go wide to the left. And Gordon is upset at the 20-yard line. 12:36 is the time remaining in the 3rd quarter. A loss of 2 on the attempted return by Gordon. This year, in his first season in Ottawa, but he indicated today that he'd be interested in returning next year if they want him back, and he realizes that he's not going to be paid anything near what he was initially signed for in Ottawa, $750,000. He took a pay cut, a 65% pay cut, when the Ottawa Rough Riders found themselves in extreme financial difficulties. Grant Carter very upset with something that took place. He's got his helmet off. Dave Denal was the ball carrier. But further to the Archer story, he wants to come back and play again next year in Ottawa. He feels they've got a pretty good football team here.
And more importantly, he wants a place to come back to and have this team be here. He's taking a look at Sean Daniels, that is just holding and grabbing and pushing Grant Carter down. Thought he had a point of argument.
On 2nd down, over the middle to Rogers, and Rogers will get a a first down, taking the ball up to the 40-yard line.
As I mentioned in the first half, talking to Dave Ritchie, the defensive coordinator, he says that Ottawa likes to use a lot of those crossing routes. They normally play a lot of man-to-man. He thinks today he wanted to play a little bit more zone to see if he could maybe have David Archer hold the ball a little longer.
And talking about Dave Ritchie, he took a hit on the sidelines on the Wilhite unsuccessful field goal return. Players running down the sidelines, and one of them ran into Ritchie and really sent him flying.
Well, Coach Dave Ritchie, he's one of those old defensive guys, too. He was trying to get a lick in on Wilhite, probably.
Dave Denault stays on his feet. He spins and drives inside the Montreal half of the field to about the 52. A second consecutive 100-yard rushing game for Dave Denault. That equals his production last week against Calgary. Now 123 yards for Dave Denault.
Grant Carter one-on-one with Sean Daniels again, who's going to seal him off and allow Dave Denault to get back inside. But you can see the pursuit speed of this defensive end from Montreal. Great explosion, great athlete to have on your ball club.
It's Denault again. Denault started right, cut left. And he will pick up about 3, maybe 4 yards.
Dave Denault, he's 5'11", about 200 pounds, out of the Burlington Braves junior football program. Born in London, England. Really one of the rare Canadian backs here that is having some success in the league.
He played a game for Saskatchewan this year, right here in Ottawa on July the 3rd. Boy, in the last 2 games, has he ever performed well for the Rough Riders. From the shotgun, Archer flushed out of the pocket, throws to Denault. He's a difficult man to bring down. Peterson finally caught up with him. Denault was slow in getting to his feet on the last play, and he's even slower in getting up on this one.
You got to think, he hasn't had that much time to get that much work in, and whether he's in playing shape, game shape or not. He's been carrying the ball last week and this week quite a bit, but when you get the ball to him early, he can catch it, turn around, find the vision out front, find out where the defenders are coming from. He makes a lot of things happen. Burns doing a good job on Carter, keeping him away from David Archer.
8:58 remaining in the third quarter. Bolduc, the ball carrier this time, and he gets to the 40-yard line. Brought down there by the middle linebacker, Paul Randolph.
Bolduc, his claim to fame was in their first meeting when Ottawa beat Montreal. He had 15 carries for 53 yards. He outrushed Mike Pringle.
But in all fairness to Pringle, that was his first game in the Montreal uniform.
That's exactly right. As I said, he was really trying to get his feet underneath him and get himself familiar with the offensive line, the scheme, and the blocking.
For receivers right, Archer was looking to his left, but Payton got to Archer before he could throw.
Alfred Payton, one of the key things that he can do, he's not that big of a guy, 6'2", about 235, but he has a tremendous power rush where he can get upfield, good upper body strength. You can see he just takes Okiki, pushes him right back into the pocket. David Archer tries to wheel out of there, but then Payton has the kind of speed to track him down, get his hands on the cloth. Terrific, unbelievable strength down in his legs and his hip and his butt.
Coach Price was saying that he elevates the confidence level of those around him. Teams are forced to pay attention to Alfred Payton, and that enables other people at times to make tackles, quarterback sacks, that sort of thing, because there are usually 2 guys trying to work against Alfred Payton.
That's exactly right. If they double team Alfred, everybody else should get a single block up front, and they're thinking that this Montreal front four is good enough to beat one-on-one.
Well, Lamely went down hard, but he came out of the pocket to get that kick away. And once you do that, you're fair game. And there's also a penalty flag on the return attempt. I think this is going to be no yards, Ottawa.
Wayne Lamley, just to the left of your screen, makes a good play. The snap goes wide to the left. Watch how he goes out. Good shortstop play, scoops it up, and then he goes out of the pocket, and he's able and allowed to get hit by Randolph without a penalty flag being thrown.
No yards on the return gives Montreal a first down at the 45-yard line. The toss to Pringle, and Pringle has a full head of steam. Humphreys was able to take the feet out from under him, but Pringle went flying through the air to the 47 of Ottawa.
A play we saw earlier. Watch Michael Souls lead out. This time the hole creates inside. Mike Pringle, with the vision that he has, cuts it back in, doesn't go to the outside, picks up about 20.
When Archer went down in the grasp of Payton, he got up grasping his leg. They hit screen to Gary Harrell, and Harrell will pick up about 7, maybe 8 yards.
Good play action pass by Tracy Ham that time. Fakes the inside draw to Pringle. Tries to freeze that defense, then throws the quick hit screen out to Harrell.
Tracy Ham at the moment intent on moving the Montreal Alouettes closer to the end zone. They've been there only once. Ham faked to his left, now runs it himself, and he gets the first down. Tackled by Jermaine Younger at the 31. It almost looked, Dan, as though there was difficulty in the exchange from center, Tracy Ham and Withicombe.
I think you're exactly right, and Tracy Ham bobbled the snap, and when he did, take a look. We're going to let it go. Bobbles the snap, can't get to Mike Pringle, comes in, but as McGriggs comes hard off the corner, he loses containment. Tracy just ad-libs. He's playing playground football, makes something out of nothing.
First and 10 Montreal from the 31 of Ottawa. 5:47 remaining in the third quarter. The toss to Pringle. Pringle following the blocking of Fort. He's gone. A 31-yard touchdown run for Mike Pringle. .113 yards now for Pringle. And he's back in the form he displayed in his 2 seasons with Baltimore.
A couple of weeks ago, I had a chance and I talked to Tracy Ham. I said, was it hard to get Mike Pringle involved in the offense? He said, Kep, are you kidding? He said, all I got to do, I take the snap, turn left, give it to Mike. Turn right, give it to Mike. He does the rest of it, along with Michael Souls in that offensive line.
Terry Baker with the point after. And it's now a 17-15 football game here at Frank Blair Stadium in Ottawa.
Watch Michael Souls lead block again, just on the corner. Big cut play. Cuts Dwayne Knight, the outside linebacker, does not allow him to get there, and then Pringle, with that speed and strength, runs through a couple of tackles, gets it into the end zone.
I said that Neil Fort was doing a good job of lead blocking. He just set up a Fort.
That's all he did. It's a big Fort. They call him the Big Cuz.
And he's a Fort all by himself at 6'7", 310 pounds.
That's Mr. Fort, as far as I'm concerned.
Great cut barrel, baby. 1-2, great cut.
Wilhite waits for the ball, takes it at the 13-yard line, and is brought down as he gets to the 32.
Oh, he was close. He was so close to breaking that one open, had not Paul Randolph came over there and just filled that hole.
Well, we talked earlier about the injury to David Archer, and Steve Taylor is coming in, perhaps with an update. We'll get more information from Mark Lee.
With the latest from the Ottawa Rough Rider medical staff is that David Archer has sprained both his right ankle and his right knee. It occurred on that last series. David Archer told me that Alfred Payton rolled up on his leg. He didn't seem too impressed by that play, but suffice to say that Archer is out right now as doctors continue to work over both joints.
Well, this is a blow for Ottawa. Steve Taylor has seen only limited action this year, but if he continues to give the ball to Dave Denal and he runs as he has, in this football game. The Ottawa Rough Riders will continue to move it.
Well, the thing that Steve Taylor brings now, the Montreal defense has to worry about his running and scrambling ability. He puts another little wrinkle into this offensive plan.
He's seen limited action since coming over to Ottawa in a trade with Hamilton in February. The University of Nebraska product gives to Dave Denal again, and Denal at the 40-yard line is stopped in his tracks, 2 yards shy of a first down, and Coach John Payne sends out the punting unit.
Alfred Payton does a great job coming right off the corner, closes down the line of scrimmage, and makes the tackle and the contact with Dave Denal in the backfield. Stops this for nothing.
And as he was making the contact, Payton was trying to pull the ball out of Denal's hand.
Well, he's either trying to pull the ball out of his hands, his helmet off, grab some cloth, take a finger, do whatever you can out there, get this guy on the ground. He's been having way too much success against a pretty good defense in Montreal today.
Lamely hoping that this ball will come back to him cleanly. Jeff Cummins, the long snapper for Ottawa. Ottawa taking all sorts of time for this third down punt. A high snap this time, but Lamely gets away an excellent kick. Harrell is waiting for it. No yards is being called against Sean Reed. And Harrell is forced out of bounds at the 39 of Ottawa with 3:42 remaining after that 44-yard return. Well, Dan, you don't always have to play on special teams to get involved in the play.
Yeah, but you got to be on the field somewhere. Watch just to the top of your screen. That's number 95. It looks like Bernard gets hit, number 85, I'm sorry. And there, boom, Hammond comes off the sideline and takes a shot at him. That's James Ellingson that does a hit. But I do think you have to be on the playing field to get involved.
First and 10 Montreal from the 39. Handoff to Pringle, and Pringle loses the football. McGriggs has got it. Ham is trying to bring him down. This is a race to the end zone. And Ham was able to cut off his avenue down the sideline, but McGriggs gets inside the 15-yard line before taking a final blow from Whippico. McGriggs was a force in the August 30th game.
Ottawa, repeat first down.
But there's a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage. A 56-yard return goes for naught.
This game has everything in it today. Offside against Ottawa negates that big play for their defense.
In Ottawa, they really like the way Lamar McGriggs has performed for the team since arriving in the nation's capital. And he thought he had a fumble return that would have put Ottawa in scoring position, but it's negated by an offside call. It's 1st and 5. The toss to Pringle. Pringle will get about 3, maybe 4 yards before being brought down at the 30-yard line with 2:58 remaining in the third quarter.
Casey Ham very contented to get the ball into Mike Pringle's hand, run the ball to the outside, try to wear this defense down a bit. That takes it out of you. You've got to chase that man, Mike Pringle, down the line of scrimmage 30 or 40 yards every time. Somewhere it's going to catch up to you in the fourth quarter.
The 2 running backs have been a force this afternoon. Dave Denal of Ottawa out rushing Mike Pringle of Montreal to this stage of the game. Pringle's going to get some work now, and Pringle puts his head down and takes on Jason Jakovich. Jakovich was coming up to make the tackle, and Pringle lowered his head and his shoulder and took him on.
Hey, Mike Pringle's not afraid to lower that shoulder and helmet on anybody out there. Takes the ball deep, kind of a zone play where he just has to find the open hole. Jakovich comes up, makes a good stick with the helmet, but he just doesn't wrap the arms around it.
First and 10, Montreal from the 26-yard line. Montreal has a poor record against Eastern Conference opponents this year. They're 1-4 against teams in the East. The pass to Jock Climbing, and Climbing gets inside the 10-yard line. That's his first reception of the afternoon.
It's the exact same play. You remember the play that they ran earlier where the pass interference call was called on Michael Souls? A little pick play. You're going to see Michael Souls cross your screen. Now, here comes Climbing the other way. Nobody's there to get as far as trying to trail as a defender. There he comes late and make the tackle is McGriggs.
Well, Climbing was saying that in many of the pass patterns he runs, it's an ad-lib situation. He and Ham have to get on the same page for most of the time they have been. Pringle takes the toss and is going to lose a yard or two. The only victory Montreal has had against an Eastern Conference opponent, 29-27 against Hamilton in August. They are 1-4 against the East, 7-2 against Western opponents.
Ottawa did an excellent job that time. When you got a team that's going to run a toss play against you, lead block with a fullback, pull the guard and kick out somewhere, just get an outside contain and stay in your gaps as you work down the line of scrimmage.
Second and goal. Ham may try and run it in. No, he's going to throw into the corner of the end zone. Chris Armstrong.
What a catch. What a catch by Chris Armstrong. Tracy Ham put one of those 100-mile-an-hour fastballs on it.
Yeah, there was some heat on that throw as Ham, for a moment, thought about trying to sprint the 8 yards into the end zone, but he found Chris Armstrong coming across in front of the defender, Kenny Wilhite, and he fired it into his hands, the 7th touchdown of the year for Chris Armstrong.
Boy, with the kind of heat he threw that ball, he could be the starter for the Yankees in the World Series.
The 222nd touchdown pass of Tracy Ham's career, and with the point after by Terry Baker, Montreal now leads at 22-17. Well, this scene has been repeated for Ottawa fans far too often. The team jumping into an early lead and then having difficulties in the second half.
Now look downfield. You're seeing exactly what Tracy Ham sees. He wants to run the ball, but no way. Younger is not going to let him go. Then he finds Chris Armstrong and just zips that ball. It's a howitzer that goes in there.
First time that Montreal has had the lead. And now the Ottawa Rough Riders will have additional problems with 19 seconds remaining in the third quarter, in that their starting quarterback, David Archer, is finished for the balance of this game, and Steve Taylor will have to direct the attack. But Taylor's running ability could pose some problems for Montreal.
Well, I think it will. It's just another weapon that defense of Montreal has to respect when they really don't have to respect it that much with David Archer in there. But right now, you can see the big the momentum changing here between Montreal and Ottawa. Ottawa's almost like, here we go again, and Montreal is saying, hey, let's do and dance with what brung us, and that's run the ball and throw the ball to our inside receivers.
Wilhite fakes to Robert Gordon. Now he gets to the outside and then is forced out of bounds at the Montreal bench by Dwayne Provo. It looked as though Wilhite was going to be stopped. He made the fake to Robert Gordon.
You know what? That's what I like about Wilhite and a guy like that. He's getting caught. Instead of taking it easy and taking a step out of bounds, he stops, tries to cut back into the traffic and pick up an extra 4 or 5 yards for you. Watch the effort of this young defensive back. Good move. Looks like he's going to fake it. Now he comes back across the grain all to himself, breaks a couple of tackles, picks up a couple of good blocks. Now watch right here. He could do step out. No way. Provo throws him out when he gets out of bounds. That could have been a roughing call. Pick up another 15 yards.
First and 10. The ball is at the 41-yard line. Well, receivers wide to the right. Steve Taylor goes the other direction to Gordon, and this will be close to a first down. And that is also the final play of the third quarter here at Frank Blair Stadium in Ottawa, with Montreal leading by 5 points. Before Alfred Payton joined Montreal, Okeke was a member of the Montreal organization. Now he's playing for Ottawa, and Payton and Okeke get into it a couple of times, and this most recent incident.
Okeke takes that left hand, sticks it right up in Alfred Payton's face mask, and then he gives him the souffle, grabs a little jersey and takes him over top of it. You know, it'd be a different thing if they were teammates, but now Okeke's wearing that kind of color. Alfred Payton wearing the color of the Montreal Alouettes. It's going to be a war for a while, at least for this fourth quarter.
Second and inches. Taylor is going to go deep, looking for Walker. The ball hangs up there. Oh, it almost was picked off by Irvin Smith. Statistically, not much to choose between the two teams in terms of rushing yardage or net yards. 177 rushing yards now for Montreal. Time of possession slightly in Montreal's favor, and it's a 5-point game, 22-17. Montreal leading.
About the stat that would sound good would be to show the rushing yardage for just the third quarter for Montreal as opposed to the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Taylor keeps on third and inches. That's a good play to gamble on second and inches, try to go for the end zone. We saw Tracy Ham attempt it in the first half. Steve Taylor tried to do it on the second last play for Wayne Walker, but his pass hung up. It was short of Walker, who was streaking towards the end zone. Taylor was fortunate it was not picked off by Irvin Smith. This one is picked off by Gordon. Charles Gordon stepping in front of Robert Gordon. And Rogers comes in from behind to make the tackle.
Two incredible efforts that time. You see Charlie Gordon on this interception, but then Joseph Rogers coming about 80 yards from down the field, full speed to make the tackle. Big heat up front, forces Taylor to have to step up, doesn't throw the ball with a lot of zip on it. Good break by Charlie Gordon. Now he's trying to pick up some blocks, cut back across the field, pick up some additional yardage. Now way back, about 40 yards, here comes Joseph Rogers, who's going to come in to make the tackle. There he is. Comes in, tries to strip the ball loose.
A 47-yard interception return as Taylor was looking for Robert Gordon, but Charles Gordon, the defensive back, picked it off. Gordon against Gordon. Sounds like a legal firm. And Mike Pringle, the ball carrier, will go for about 4, maybe 5.
Just that inside little draw play. Cummings does a good job coming down the line of scrimmage. Charlie Gordon, that's his 6th pick of this 96 season.
And he now is the Montreal team leader. He had been tied earlier in this game by Irvin Smith. On second down, Ham under pressure. Cummings has got it. He throws. Incomplete. Fans at Lansdowne Park, just over 14,000, voiced their displeasure with no flag on the play. I'm sure they felt that Tracy Ham was simply throwing it away as he was being held by Jeff Cummins.
I don't think you have to think on that. It was definite he's just going to throw it away. Jeff Cummins does a great job, loses containment just for a second, then he gets parallel and goes down the line of scrimmage. He's in the grass right there. At any time, had Cummings turned around and threw him down on the ground, he'd probably got, you know, an unnecessary roughness call.
On third down, Terry Baker comes in to attempt a field goal of 19 yards. And Baker adds to Montreal's lead, making it 25-17. There's also a penalty flag on the play. The penalty flag after the field goal by Terry Baker. Rough play against Lubo Zizakovic, and a disqualification.
Big Lubo, he's not going to agree with that and go quietly.
I think Bob Price initially thought over at the Montreal bench that if there was a penalty on the play, they should get an opportunity to put it into the end zone. But it occurred after the field goal had been kicked. And the play had been completed. And that's something that really infuriates coaches when penalties occur when the ball is not in play.
Just to the right of Bob Price there, that's Scott Purgeon, the special teams coach, and he's going over just to make sure that they're sure on the ruling, whether they may have an opportunity. Once it's called, then once they agree to it on that side of the ball, you just have to accept it. It's 3 points. Let's take it and let's get on with this football game.
Well, the 25-yard penalty that is assessed for the disqualification means Montreal is kicking off from the 50 of Ottawa. Baker will drive it into the end zone, taken there by Robert Gordon. He brings it back to the 20-yard line. 12:08 remaining in the football game. Montreal leading 25-17. Montreal trying to wrap up second place in the East. 3 games remaining. They'll be at home to Ottawa next Saturday. We'll have that game for you on CBC television, the second half of this home-and-home doubleheader. Then on October 25th, Hamilton is at Montreal, and that game will ultimately decide second place in the East. The final game of the season, Montreal travels to Winnipeg on November the 1st.
That Montreal-Hamilton game, that'll be a war, because these two teams are getting healthy at the same time. It will be a battle.
Steve Taylor throwing deep. Hinchcliffe makes an outstanding catch. Boy, oh boy, he reached almost all the way back to New Zealand to haul that one in.
Hey, you know something? And I hate guys like that. Just when I make a comment that he has not established himself as a wide receiver, he comes up and makes a circus catch like that that says, hey, I've arrived. Steve Taylor throws the ball on the run, off balance, hangs it out there. And that world-class sprinter speed gets underneath the ball. Check him out. Yes, sir.
46 yards. Taylor to Hinchcliffe. First and 10. Ottawa, the ball is at the 44 of Montreal. 11:09 remaining. Penalty flags. It looked as though Taylor had started to move out of his position behind the center, Monroe, and didn't have possession of the football.
No, that's exactly right, Whit. He's going to take that right foot and come out, but also the right tackle on that. Chris Burns moved at the same time. You got 2 guys.
Procedure. Ottawa number 3. Still first down.
Take a look. You watch Steve Taylor's right leg, but look right over his shoulder. Watch the movement. Chris Burns comes out of his stance quickly, that 3-point stance. Soon as he moves and lifts that hand up, Alfred Payton comes across. They could have called it on either one. They do call it on Taylor.
First and 15. The ball is at the 49. Hinchcliffe lines up wide to the left. Taylor rolls in that direction, looks for Hinchcliffe again. He makes the catch from the sidelines and is knocked out of bounds by Anthony Drawhorn at the 40. Drawhorn added to the Montreal lineup last week from Saskatchewan, reunited with Bob Price. Drawhorn played for Price at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas.
Sure did. Bob Price was the DB coach there.
Second and 6, Ottawa from the 40-yard line. Montreal in front by 8 points. Taylor throws to the other side, looking for Hinchcliffe again. He found something that was working, but went to the well once too often.
If you go there too much and you don't throw that ball out there with some zip on it, it's going to be going 6 points the other way. Robert Gordon, the inside slot, was wide open just on a quick slant route. Taylor chose to ignore him and try to throw it to the outside.
Well, Wayne Lamley has kicked a 55-yard field goal this year for Ottawa, and he will be attempting a 47-yard field goal with 10 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. It's wide, and Gary Harrell is going to concede a single point. Well, that brings Ottawa within a converted touchdown.
Don Matthews hoisting the Grey Cup as the Baltimore Stallions celebrated the first American-based team to win the Canadian Football League Championship. And 1 year later, the nucleus of that team is still together. You see Pringle, Ham, Withercombe, Alfred Payton, they're all here, but this team has adjusted its All-American lineup to include 7 Canadian starters, and they are gaining momentum in that hunt for second place in the East Division. Whit?
Well, there's still a lot of football to be played before this team gets an opportunity to defend the championship it won a year ago, but Montreal would like to be in Hamilton for the Grey Cup game on the 24th of November. Pringle, the ball carrier. Dwayne Knight made the initial contact with him, and then Obi Spanik came over to finish the job.
Great defense again, going down the line of scrimmage just on that inside counter play. And Dwayne Knight does an excellent job out of Virginia Tech. This guy can go anywhere you want to on this football field. He plays the linebacker, he plays every special team, and he gives you 100% every time the ball's snapped.
16 carries for 127 yards now for Pringle, 9:06 remaining. Second and 9, Montreal. The ball just across the 40-yard line. Ham looks over the middle, and he finds Armstrong for a first down at the 54. It took Tracy Ham some time to get his slot backs involved in the play, but now he's been throwing with regularity to Armstrong and Jock Climbing.
Ottawa sets in that zone defense. Armstrong does an excellent job just finding the soft spot in between there. And once Tracy Ham has enough time to set up strong and gets this kind of protection up front, he makes it an easy pitch and catch.
Climbing, Armstrong, and Williams all go wide to the left. And off to Pringle. Pringle inside, stopped after a pickup of about 2. He had the left side of the Ottawa defensive line converge on him. Immediately following this game, we'll go to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, where the Stampeders entertain the Toronto Argonauts. The Thanksgiving Day doubleheader for you on CBC television.
Now that offensive huddle took place about 2 yards from the football. Tracy's all he's telling them, get to the line of scrimmage and listen to my audible.
They've done that a lot during the course of this game. Ham flushed out of the pocket by Cummins. Throws complete to Pringle, but he's going to be stopped short of a first down by Jermaine Younger.
Tracy does an excellent job. He gets outside of Jeff Cummins. The second wave of containment is going to be that guy right there, number 56. As he slides down the line of scrimmage, catches Michael Pringle down on the ground, nowhere to go. Makes sure that he stays on the turf.
Younger played with both Toronto and Hamilton before finding employment with the Ottawa Rough Riders, and he's been doing quite a job at the middle linebacking position for the team.
And he ousted a guy that was playing pretty solid for him in Ray Bernard, who's been relegated to a backup role, but he has taken that role with a lot of pride and playing strong on the special teams.
Will Height and Gordon are back for this third down punt by Terry Baker. Will Height will take it at the 15-yard line. Will Height trying to find some room. Couldn't quite get to the outside. Just too many bodies to try and maneuver around. A 33-yard punt, an 11-yard return by Will Height.
You got to wonder if he's feeling butterflies. Doug Flutie warming up at McMahon Stadium for his homecoming to Calgary. It's the Argos and the Stampeders, part 2 of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader, coming up in about a half hour from now. Whit?
Well, the sun is still shining out at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. It has set here in the nation's capital, and it has also set on the playoff hopes of the Ottawa Rough Riders. It did that last weekend, and maybe on the future of this franchise in the nation's capital. Dave Denal, the ball carrier. What a job he has done today. He gets out to the 40-yard line.
What an effort by this back. I mean, he is doing it all. Powerful strength, running through the tackles.
13 carries for 148 yards. He has outdone his effort last week against Calgary.
Stevenson and Okeke leading the block on that counter trap, and then a lot of this is just done on his own. Runs over Spencer McClendon. The safety picks up another 3 or 4 yards.
He seems to be going in about 7 different directions at the same time. Little swing pass to Sean Daniels. Close to a first down up to the 50-yard line. 5:40 is the time remaining.
Good play call, good play selection by Steve Taylor, trying to get the ball downfield. It's not there. Big drop in zones by the Montreal Alouettes. Dumps it off and gives it to the big back, Daniels, who's caught 10 passes already this season. Lets him pick up big yardage, makes it second and a couple.
Hand off to Dave Denal again. He crosses midfield to the 54 of Montreal with 5:05 remaining. Dan, I talked about the future of this Ottawa franchise. Jim Durrell, who is the president and CEO, is hoping that Horn Chin, the absentee owner of this team, will relinquish control of the franchise to what is hoped will be a community-based group trying to resurrect the fortunes of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Well, I think that's a great thing if it can happen. I think obviously the turning point and the holdup in all of this is just getting the rights released by Chin.
Taylor finds Rogers open, and he's taken down on the far side of the field by Anthony Drawhorn, pardon me.
Just the out pattern, tries to get the jam on him, but then not able to run with him, creates the separation. Steve Taylor's got a strong enough arm when he has the time to throw. Drawhorn comes back, makes Joseph Rogers pay a little bit on the sideline, takes him down hard for it. But that's what those receivers are used to. Make the catch, you know you're going to get hit, hold on to the ball, keep the drive alive.
Second and about 2. Andre Bolduc gets the first down. I think Montreal was prepared for Dave Denal, and Steve Taylor crossed them up.
First time we've seen him line up in a true I formation, just a lead play. Montreal's defense knew exactly where that play was going to go. Missed tackle in the backfield, allowed Bolduc to pick up the big first down. Keep this drive alive again.
3:36 is the time remaining. 1st and 10 from the 43-yard line. Rogers couldn't make the catch. Probably a good thing he didn't hang on to the football, because he had 2 defenders, Drawhorn and Kraft, all set to apply some punishment.
On the quick out pattern, the ball just slightly thrown behind him. You could see the ice bag and the water dripping off of the knee of David Archer.
In case you've just joined us, Archer was injured in the 3rd quarter. And Steve Taylor is now directing the Ottawa offense. Second and 10 for Ottawa. The ball at the Montreal 43. Montreal leading 25-18. 3:13 remaining in the game. Taylor from the shotgun completes the pass to Rogers, and Rogers had difficulty staying on his feet. He got turned around and making the catch.
That's exactly right. Same pass as last time. The ball's thrown behind him on his left shoulder. He has to turn around to make it, and when he does, he loses his footing.
It will be 3rd down for Ottawa when we return. What decision will Coach John Payne make? Bob Price on the left knew it wouldn't be easy. John Payne, the man on the right, is going to gamble on third down in his second stint as a head coach in the CFL, previously with Hamilton as a head man back in the late 70s. And this third down gamble for Ottawa with 4 receivers wide to the right. Steve Taylor on the quarterback draw will get the first down. Excellent call by John Payne. Taking advantage of Steve Taylor's running ability.
Anytime you're going to take a look with Steve Taylor back there, it is a threat for him to run it and run that quarterback draw, a play that Doug Flutie has made very popular. One-on-one, good blocking up front. The only guy he's got to see, where's Paul Randolph? No, I'm going to leave you. Go outside, pick up the first down. I can run away from that big middle linebacker. Excellent play by Steve Taylor.
First and 10 from the 29-yard line. 3 receivers left. Taylor looks in that direction. Incomplete. Robert Gordon is the man Taylor was trying to hit.
Robert Gordon trying to find the open spot in that zone, does a good job, sails himself out, ball hits him in the hands. Very catchable pass. It would have been a circus catch by Robert Gordon. He's made those kind of catches in his career.
.219 is the time remaining.
Hey, right now, I'd like to see Steve Taylor run that quarterback draw one more time. See if he can pick up 8 or 10 yards.
Well, he came up limping the last time he ran it. Throws to the sidelines. First down as he finds Willie Hinchcliffe open at the 17-yard line.
That's why I play defense. I don't know how to call those offensive plays, but I wouldn't want to be throwing the ball out there 30 or 40 yards the way he is. But Steve Taylor has a gun for an arm. Sets up, throws the ball off balance, doesn't be able to plant his back foot. Hinchcliffe, he throws it over a short zone defender, and before Kraft, who was covering the deep third, Hinchcliffe comes up with a great reception again. Okay, now run the quarterback draw.
2:15 remaining. The clock will not start until the ball is snapped. It's at the 17-yard line. Fake inside, and Taylor now running towards the sidelines, and he's forced out of bounds inside the 15. Jason Bryant came over to force Taylor out. Didn't appear to be much wrong with his leg on that play.
No. You like to try to fool these defenders. I had a teammate back in the late 70s, early 80s, a guy named Jim Germany. Every time Germ carried the ball, you would swear that he was going to get carried off by an ambulance. The next thing you know, he would touch the ball and go for about a 30-yard, 40-yard sprint.
I remember Jim Germany very well. A 4-receiver set right.
Run the ball.
Second down. Taylor looking to the end zone. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Bolduc. Taylor could not have delivered the ball better.
You couldn't have thrown a better football than that time. Middle's wide open. Steve Taylor stands in there. Good break on the ball. Ball hits him perfectly. That's the problem. Coach Payne said, we've got players, when they have the opportunity to make plays, have not been coming across.
Another third down gamble, 3rd and 7 with 2:05 remaining. Makes the catch to the 3-yard line. First down Ottawa, but there's also a penalty flag. It looks as though it's going against Ottawa. Holding.
Holding. Ottawa number 53. Repeat third down.
Okeke guilty of the holding violation. So they'll repeat the third down, this time back at the 23.
Right in front of you, Paul Randolph. He wraps both those big hands around him. Come on, I don't see the holding in that call.
1:57 remaining. 3rd and 17. Taylor flushed out of the pocket by Hammonds. Throws down the sidelines. Hinchcliffe makes the catch on the sidelines, but I believe they are ruling that he was out of, well, are they spotting the ball at the 9-yard line? It's still short of a first down.
Great effort. Steve Taylor did a good job getting outside, breaking containment. The pass to Bolduc had to be caught for the touchdown, the one he dropped.
That was the play, really. The end zone throw by Taylor to Bolduc.
Steve Taylor throwing off the right foot, just sails it downfield. Ball caught on the outside. Hinchcliffe just does not have any real estate whatsoever to make a move to get it back into the flames and pick up more yardage.
Pringle now. Brought down at about the 12-yard line by Jermaine Younger. Pickup of about 3. 1:41 remaining. Montreal trying to keep the ball in the ground, trying to use up as much of the clock as possible. Ottawa may yet get another opportunity to try and put it in the end zone.
Well, they should. On this play, right after this play, Ottawa calls timeout quickly, stops the clock before the punt is made, and they'll get it probably with about 50 seconds remaining on the clock.
Tracy Ham with a good fake. And Ham runs the ball out to the 27-yard line. Boy, Ottawa was all prepared for Mike Pringle, and Ham made an excellent fake to Pringle before scooting off to his right.
Great play inside, and this is where Tracy Ham, as I said, he's matured so much as a quarterback. He does not mind the pressure. He will take it on himself, and in the crucial situation, he's like a Michael Jordan. He wants the ball in his hands.
Well, he was originally drafted as a running back by the Los Angeles Rams.
Tracy Ham, he's hobbling a bit out there also.
He gives to Pringle. Pringle gets through the linebacking core and into the secondary for another Montreal first down with 51 seconds remaining.
All right, come on, D! Come on, D! Big play, D!
A lot of Alouettes out there, little nicks and bumps and a lot of hopping around. Guys are limping around out there. A couple of guys in the offensive line. Tracy Ham. And this Ottawa defense, they've got to be tackling the football. Strip it loose somehow.
Putting a full 60-minute football game together has been a problem for Ottawa this year. And now Mike Pringle, doing an excellent job of running the football, takes it up to the 51, and that should pretty much do it with 23 seconds remaining. 20 carries for 156 yards now for Mike Pringle. His previous best was 150 yards on September 29th against Hamilton.
Ottawa just called their timeout, trying to see if they can make something happen with 23 seconds to go.
But the Rough Riders had the glorious opportunity to get back on even terms, but Bolduc could not hold the pass that was delivered perfectly in the end zone.
Bolduc, the young receiver, this is his rookie year.
He's being consoled by Dave Denal.
Dave Denal's going to go over there, and this is the young kid that had a chance to make a big-time, big-league play. And he'll have nightmares about that one for a while. But as a pro, hey, that's one play. You got to get rid of it. You've got to forget about it and be able to come back.
All the words, though, at this juncture don't mean anything.
It won't help.
Andre Bolduc out of Concordia. Tracy Ham is going to take a knee and take the clock down to 19 seconds. These teams meet again on Saturday at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. And we'll be there to provide coverage of it.
But we talked about some of the games that Ottawa should have, could have, maybe would have won. And this is another one. They let one slip through their fingers here today.
They had a 17-1 lead in the second quarter. Tracy Ham takes the knee, and that kills the clock. here at Frank Clair Stadium as the Montreal Alouettes improve their lead on the third-place Hamilton Ticats to 4 points. But it was a hard-fought effort here at Frank Clair Stadium before the Alouettes assured themselves a victory by a score of 25-18.
If you're the Montreal Alouettes and you got behind a team like the Hamilton Ticats or the Toronto Argonauts by 17-1, you're not going to have that good a chance of coming back. They have to play better football down the stretch to get ready for the playoff run.
And when you take a look at these Ottawa Rough Riders, you know, they've got the makings here of a pretty solid football team next year. There's some talent wearing the black uniform of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Well, the pressure doesn't come. I think they're putting on a pretty good show out there, and I think that Coach Payne has done a great job coming in under the conditions that he did when he took over the head coaching job. Where it matters now is the people of Ottawa has to come and sit their tails in this stand and buy some tickets to support this football team.
Well, they're trying to get control of this franchise and begin their season ticket blitz within the next week. They hope to have 15,000 sold by December. Now let's go down to the sidelines and join Mark Lee.
Thank you, Whit. I'm standing with Mike Pringle, who led a terrific final drive to keep that ball away from Ottawa. Tell me about the comeback. You're down 17-1.
We just had to stay focused. We went in at halftime on a good note, and we just tried to ride that wave onto a victory. You know, Ottawa is a better team than their record indicates, and you know, they played us tough, but we kept our heads straight and battled back.
You're right about Ottawa. I think they've lost the last 5 games now by an average of 6 points a game.
They're a good ball club. They fly around. They're reckless. I don't know if it's because of their record that they're this reckless, but it seems to work for them.
What about your team? Early in the first half, you didn't seem to get some distribution in terms of passing. You seemed to be the only guy doing the job, and then in the second half, you came back. They started moving the ball around to Armstrong, yourself.
We were trying to work with the wind. In the first quarter, we were up against the wind, so we wanted to keep the ball on the ground and little short passes. And you know, they were not taking me on some routes, and Tracy was reading. You know, we took what they gave us, and I think it worked out fine.
All right, Mike, congratulations on a good game.
Thank you very much.
Mike Pringle of the Alouettes. Who else we got here? Tracy Ham. Tracy, you move into the #1 spot as a rushing quarterback ahead of Damon Allen, but more importantly, you get another win and get closer to clinching second place.
Well, I think right now the most important thing for me and the ball club is that we continue to try to get ourselves in the position to get a home field advantage for the playoff. Ottawa is certainly a team that's on the rise. It's unfortunate they waited so late, but I tell you what, now he has them playing very good football.
Tell me what was going through your mind there in the final minute. Ottawa stalling deep in your own end, and you really needed that first down run.
Well, the coach is asking me to run the ball more, but as you get older, you learn to run a little more selectively. I knew they were going to be pinching. They knew they had to stop Pringle, and if they don't pinch, Pringle beats them. If they pinch, then I can beat them. So it's a case of, you know, which one are you going to take away? If I was them, I'd take away Pringle and not worry about me, but Pringle played a good ball game for us, and that's important for us.
Tracy, not only do you lead the rushing department all time for quarterbacks, but you're #2 in passing this year. They say that you're not as angry, not as uptight, you're more mellow these days. Is that a fair assessment of the way you've approached the game?
Well, you know, early in my career, you feel like you got to play the game with attitude, and I've learned that you don't have to play like that. I've learned that you just have to play hard and enjoy the game, and I'm enjoying it more. You know, I have 2 sons now, and if I don't get mad at them, I can't get mad at anything. So it's just a pleasure, and I'm enjoying playing again.
Well, we enjoyed watching you out here today. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you much. Hey, Valerie, Caleb, and little Tracy, how y'all doing?
Tracy Ham leading the Alouettes to a come-from-behind 25-18 win here this afternoon at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa. Part 1 of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader. And to set the scene for Game 2 coming up in Calgary, the Argos and the Stampeders, let's go to Chris Cuthbert at McMahon Stadium.
Well, thanks, Mark. We're about 14 minutes away from kickoff, the second meeting of the season between the Calgary Stampeders and the Toronto Argonauts. September 21st, it was a beauty. It lived up to its billing as a terrific matchup of 2 of the premier teams in the CFL. James, any reason to expect anything different this afternoon?
I think we should expect the best this afternoon once again in this repeat performance. These are 2 teams with a lot on the line. They want to really lay the groundwork right now because they expect to meet each other in the Grey Cup, that they can outplay each other.
It was a defensive battle the first time, and now the offenses have to try and come up with a more successful game plan on either side. I know, talking to Doug Flutie last night, he's concerned about the fact Wally Bono gets a chance to see what worked for the Argos the first time and clamp down. Is it advantage defense the second time around?
I really don't know. I think what offenses do in the first time that you meet each other is you play more conservatively. You really don't want to take any chances, put your defense in bad field position. I think we can see a more wide-open football game this afternoon from both offenses.
Now, the biggest play offensively of the first meeting was a 97-yard touchdown pass from Doug Flutie to Paul Mazzotti. Now, please note that Mazzotti was not the primary receiver. Flutie looked left before throwing deep to the right-hand side. Al Jordan with pretty good coverage, but Mazzotti ran it in. What amazed me, James, was talking to Doug Flutie about this play last night. He took about 3 minutes to explain what was going on in his mind during the play, and of course the play is a split-second reaction time, so Flutie shows you again what kind of amazing athlete he is.
Well, he's an amazing athlete. I think he really didn't want to tip his hand as far as what occurred in the play. But what happened was Jordan set and Mazzotti kept running on the play, and he was able to check down through his receiving corps and find the open receiver. Doug Flutie, though, was a master. He had 312 yards versus Calgary last time they met, and look for more of the same, probably go over 400 this afternoon.
Okay, 97 yards, that was a big play, but the biggest play in the game and the biggest man in the game was 5'6" Jimmy the Jet Cunningham, who had a punt return, 186 punt return yards in the game. Specialty teams often decide games between evenly matched teams. I can't help but think Marvin Coleman is anxious to be the difference today for Calgary.
Well, two of the best punt returners in the CFL, and Marvin Coleman is an excellent athlete. He spends a lot of time, though, covering on defense, and that takes a lot out of his special teams play. So he hasn't been as explosive this year, but this is one of those games he'd like to have a coming out party in.
Well, part two of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader coming up in about 7.5 minutes. The 12-2 Toronto Argonauts against the 11-4 Calgary Stampeders. Almost set to go from McMahon Stadium, but right now, back to Mark Lee.
All right, Chris, here in Ottawa, though, the Alouettes looking like a real threat to those Argos in the East with a big win here today, 25-18 over the Rough Riders. We're back after this. Back at Frank Clair Stadium, where the frost is definitely on the pumpkin with the sun down here. The Alouettes winning 25-18 on part one of our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader, joined by Alfred Payton of the Alouettes. Alfred, the key to this game, the fact that you held Ottawa to just 1 point in the second half.
Well, I felt in the first half we was playing kind of flat, including myself, and I really thought that we needed to pick it up in the second half. And you know, that's exactly what we did the second half. Came out and put some pressure on those guys, and I really, you know, was proud of the way the team as a whole picked up in the second half.
Now, a key play in the third quarter, you actually put David Archer out of the game, rolling up on his leg. He says you rolled up on the leg, and that was it for him.
Well, it was a play that I was just trying to get to him. It was accidental. I didn't even know I rolled up on his leg the way I did, but I knew at that point we needed to make a big play, and I just, you know, took it upon myself to do that. I'm just very proud of the way the team played, and because, you know, we really need to play 60 minutes of football as opposed to coming out playing one half, and, you know, I'm just proud of the way we played and happy that we got the win.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
For their analysis, let's go up to the broadcast booth now and join Don Whitman and Danny Kepley.
All right, Mark. Well, Dan, when you take a look at this Montreal team, you see a lot of the weapons that carried them to the Grey Cup last year really getting back to the form they displayed last year.
Well, I think that's the case, Whit, and the big thing that they have to do, they've got to load the gun in the first half, the first play, and play for 60 minutes. They can't wait to play just the last 30 minutes of the football game.
Well, Mike Pringle with his second game of better than 100 yards rushing. He had 150 against Hamilton. He had 158 today. And Tracy Ham running with the ball in the second half when he really had to.
Well, he likes to have the ball in his hands. He's a big play guy. He'll make it, and he'll make the play. And this, like we said, the guy that was on before, Alfred Payton, they have to do it on their side of the football also. And defensively, they got all the weapons, too, to get the job done.
Montreal with the win today, taking a firmer grip on second place in the East. Mark?
All right, Don, and so the Alouettes making a case for themselves as a real threat for that East Division title. They'll be in good when they meet Ottawa in part two of their home-and-home series next Saturday. This was the scene with just 24 seconds to go in the third quarter of this football game. Montreal taking the lead for the first time as Tracy Ham hit Chris Armstrong in the end zone with a great catch, his 7th touchdown of the season. That made it 22-17. The Alouettes going on to win this one 25-18 at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa.